Welcome to the Dirt Life Show with your host, George Hammel.
All right, what's up, everybody? Episode 119 of the Dirt Life Show. This is a special episode that's going to focus on George Hammel and his story. I think everybody's been asking about this one for a long time to go in depth. Co-host Robert Blanton, the always awesome Robert Blanton.
Thank you very much.
And,
Rob!
Robert, thanks for hosting.
Press the clap.
Oh, shoot. Where is it?
See it? That second?
Okay, there we go. Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
I see you over there. Thank you. Thank you, man.
The girl in the red. Robert, thanks for hosting, and special thanks from me for giving me the dime tour of this awesome operation you have going on here. Pretty awesome. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so where are we today?
So we are at the Warfighter Made headquarters.
Temecula, California.
Temecula, California, where all the magic happens.
The magic.
All of it.
There was a lot of magic today happening when I was getting things set up, dude. What do you guys got going?
You basically saw three dudes, on top of each other just... Oh, wait a minute. We were talking about the car. My bad.
You said something about a meat sandwich. I don't know where it
got me totally
Here,
discombobulated.
all right, let me switch the camera, and then you can tell me what was going on back there.
So right there in the total blackness, the dark night, we have our hopefully our three-time defending champ, Flyer 22. Flyer is a vintage military light strike vehicle, an LSV. It's one of two running examples in the U.S. The Flyer wasn't really used in the American military. It was primarily used by the Israeli commandos, Singaporean SEALs. The SAS got a hold of it, but when our coalition forces were using the Flyer defense, the vehicle kind of in the back there, if you guys can see, with a dummy sitting in the third seat, is a Cheneth light strike vehicle, which is the three-seat dune buggy. And there's a really solid chance that is one of 8 that I actually used as a Force Recon Marine.
Dude, that's crazy.
And is it, just in case somebody's listening on the radio or not having, is it all right if I say what I said? Like for me, it took me back to my childhood, and I said,
"Oh, absolutely."
Okay, so it's the G.I. Joe. It's the G.I. Joe buddy or buggy.
Buggy, and what's rad about that is,
if you guys can't see it on Instagram, go over to YouTube and Facebook.
My unit, because that Cheneth three-seat light strike vehicle wasn't really a DoD item. Only Force Recon, the SEALs, and CAG, Combat Application Group, which is also known as I can't even think of what they're Delta Force.
Oh, nice.
We all use those things.
Sure.
And then they were basically mothballed, but because it wasn't a DoD item, my unit, First Force Reconnaissance Company, hired a company out in town in Oceanside, California called B&R Buggy. And just by a weird turn of events, the guy who ran B&R Buggy for 30 years is now a board member of Warfighter Made, and he's helping us rebuild that. So I remember, in the 90s being on our compound, and Gary would have a school circle of Force Recon Marines standing around, teaching them this, that, and whatever. And now he's doing it again back here at Warfighter Made.
So awesome.
With our vets and whatnot.
That's like exactly what we were talking about on the show. Like the perception and the perspective, like all that stuff can come full circle depending on how you live your life.
Yeah, totally. I feel like there's going to be a lot of that as we dig deep into just how this stuff happens. It's just, it's amazing. That's awesome.
All right, let's get through the sponsors.
So, sponsors. I'm probably going to lean a little help with that.
All right, I'll do it then. You guys can always check us out like you do every week. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, get us in the archives like iTunes and all that stuff. Dude, we've been getting so many messages from people that have been on the road, driving their semis, just going back and forth to work, being like, dude, we love the fucking show. It's like, it's so cool. And so it's starting to finally catch on. So you guys are doing an awesome job, sharing the show. Like, that's the best thing, right? Because that's what actually makes us grow. And Rob and I were talking about a little bit before, like all these social media algorithms are jacking everybody up. So keep sharing the show, because that's what helps us the most, is when you guys spread the word. So if you don't get to check it out live, we really want you guys to, but because you can comment in, hang out with us. You can always check it out afterwards on Google on Facebook and YouTube. And always wanted you to get interactive at the Dirt Life Show on social media. Hit us up in the DM, slide in there, and hang out, ask questions. We even got questions about how people want to operate their race program, which I think we will talk about tonight, right, Case?
Yes, sir.
So that'll be cool. And the show is brought to you by some fantastic partners. Head over to 4 Wheel Parts and get some KMC wheels, man. They got all kinds of cool stuff. There's all kinds of colors they've been releasing on social media, getting me all jazzed up for that. So, head over to 4 Wheel Parts, buy some KMC wheels. Motul, the guys over at Motul Oils have been a huge part of the show. We're actually going to come at you guys with some awesome stuff in the future here. One of their outside sales reps, Travis Britton, who just actually texted me, he wants to come on the show, hang out a little bit, and show everybody how good the oils are, what they can be used for, and like which oils go in what vehicles and stuff. So you can kind of go out and buy a kit and things like that. It'll be rad, because then you guys just go down the store and get exactly what you need. Don't even have to ask those dudes any questions in the dealership or at the shop. Thanks to the guys over at Shock Therapy. Use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapy.com or shocktherapyusa.com. Get some lemon straps, a steering rack, BSD kits. They got all kinds of hard parts, and you can always get their shock tuning services. They do some amazing work. Tell Justin and all those guys at the Dirt Life sent you. EFX Tires, guys are always helping out. We really appreciate them. Evolution Power Sports, they got that self-programming for the ECUs now. You can use your phone to program your UTV.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's pretty rad, right? So just think. Use your phone and app, and then all of a sudden you have way more horsepower. Like, it's pretty sick. So go ahead and...
There's an app for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I prefer to do it the old way with stickers.
Just add all kinds of horsepower.
Stickers.
How many? How big of a Warfighter made sticker do you need for, let's just say, 69 horsepower?
At least 69 inches.
Yep, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna have to put that all over there.
6 to 9 inches.
Perfect.
I always thought it was like at least one sticker per like quarter horse.
Yeah, exactly. So you got stickers everywhere.
Everywhere.
The more vinyl you have on the car, the better. Thank you to the guys over at Zollinger Racing Products. You can use the code TheDirtLife at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Get some tie rods, some radius rods to match up with your steering rack that you bought from Shock Therapy. You have the perfect situation for your vehicle. Thanks to the guys over at Cryo Heat. We really hope that Josh from Cryo Heat feels a little bit better. He had surgery on his neck the other day, and he wants to get out and do some RC car racing since he saw that. So it'll be nice to hang out with Josh and be able to get him out, man. That's some of the stuff we're going to talk about as well, because I had so many people helping me, including RC people, when I was going through rehab and doing all those things. So it's cool that he's asking me, because it makes me feel like I can give back too, right?
Absolutely.
So thanks to the guys over at Solderweld. Use the code DIRTLIFE at solderweld.com. Get yourself an off-road repair kit and repair your race or repair your ride. All right, let's go for it.
Awesome. So tonight's topics, we kind of mentioned this, and I think maybe there's 2 P words. I'm sure we'll fight it out, but we're going to talk about perception. And I like this little quote here. If the eyes of perception were clear, anyone would see the world as it truly is, which is infinite.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing that I always think, like, everybody always asks, like, how do you do social media? How do you get through life in certain circumstances? Well, it's because you only know what you know, right? You only know what you're taught, or you only know what is going on around you. They have another saying, too, that you're as much like the 5 people around you. Like, so the 5 people that are around you, they influence how your well-being is. They influence how your voice is, everything, right?
Right.
So your dialect, everything. So when you have a clear perspective,
there's the other P word,
and your perception is infinite or open, you really have no limitations in your life. Like, you can go get any job you want, even if you don't have a education, as long as your perception sees you there.
Right. And I think we kind of talked about it, but for me, like, a biggest in work and any part of your life is that perception is reality. So even if it's not, it's the perceived reality, I guess is what I'm saying. So sometimes when we're in a bad mood or whatever we're doing, like we got to adjust so we don't put it out that it's perceived in a negative way, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Let's answer some of these comments and stuff that are coming in. Hi, Lena from Rimrock, Arizona. What's up? John Huppers. Can you see that case? I can't see it.
I can't see it.
We got the
Why
table.
Do you have the three old dudes sitting
I
up
know.
here?
Like we got to look at it, stare a little bit closer.
Experienced dudes.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Kate. Influence. Yeah, you definitely influenced me for more tacos, that's for sure. Yeah, and then let's see here. I can see it a little bit. John got to do something on cold. Nope, we're not doing anything in the cold, dude. We're staying right here in Southern California where it's nice and warm. Shock therapy, mass production for novice drivers. Yeah, they can do all your stuff, man. You just tell them what you need and go over there.
Got a couple of hellos from Arizona.
Oh, yeah, greetings from Vail, Arizona. What's up, Reed?
Reed and
yeah.
And good old Tucson.
Dave, yeah.
Good old Tucson.
Tucson, Arizona. Vail, what up? Wait,
Yeah.
are we supposed to go like this? Like, it's Vail strong.
Victory Vail strong.
There's a Vail in Temecula, though, too.
There is, but it has a lake. It's not really fair.
Yeah, and it's got a huge enduro mountain bike park, which Vail, Arizona, well, it kind of does, but not as much.
Quite a bit different. We're also going to talk about belief system, mind over matter, and willpower, which I know George personally for a long time. I know Rob does too, but I don't know if there's anything that would explain it in one word better than that, willpower and mind over matter. So I'm looking forward to digging into that.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to bring it up too because every time I come in here to Rob's shop is willpower is something that you can't get out of your head because of all the dudes that come in here.
Well, we refer to that as the third P word, perseverance.
There
you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's all it is just persevering through it.
Like this bad boy
Awesome.
right here.
Like that bad boy right back there.
Okay. Sorry, Case.
No, you're good. A little sidebar. I love this inspire, adapt, overcome. That is freaking fantastic. And it starts with inspiration. That's awesome. So obviously hard work, that goes without saying. Hard work always pays off. And then George is heading to Texplex here pretty quick next weekend.
Yeah.
Outlaw Series.
Yeah, maybe we'll just get that out of the way. So we're going to be at Texplex, then we're going to go to the Mint 400, hang out with Rob and all his homies. But Texplex is going to be super cool because they're going to have a live feed. Shock Therapy is going to be bringing the whole live feed and the whole system over there.
Awesome.
And I got the opportunity to go announce the races. So it's kind of it's exactly like that whole perception thing. I thought it would be cool to start a podcast. I had no idea how to do it. But then it's leading into other stuff now where people are asking me to go announce some races and stuff just because I like it so much, right? And it's a passion of mine. So it's really cool and I get to go do that. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity because I get to go meet a whole different group of people out there in Texas and really join hands with all of them this year.
Great people out there.
After sitting next to Rick Johnson, is it just easy after that?
I don't know, dude. He's such a boss. For me, I just feel like I'm stepping all over myself because he's just killing it, right?
Isn't that crazy? I bet we would all have a story about that where there's somebody that we for us, that was, RJ, are you kidding me? When we were growing up?
Hey, so before we get going very much further, Brett Carpenter just joined on Instagram. So I want to throw a huge shout out to him. He's one of the topics that I wanted to talk about on this show. So before we get too far into it, because I know that he'll probably want to spend some time with his family, I want to just thank him a million times over because he didn't think, again, perspective, perception, whatever you want to call it, he didn't think about his race, the race that I got hurt at in 2019. He stopped and helped me. He's one of the reasons that I'm able to stay here. It still brings, almost brings tears to my eyes now, but every time I see him, I just want to give him the biggest bear hug because he's the dude that didn't think the same as everybody else, and that's the point that we're going to make tonight. Don't have to think the same. Just do what you feel is right.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Brett.
And it's a bear hug, not an air hug, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. We also have special guest, Collins, James Jeremio is calling.
James Jeremio. Yeah, he's a boss too.
So looking forward to all that. So what how do you feel about do we jump in with the PW50 or how do we go?
I don't know. How about this? How about I'll just give everybody a baseline because I'm really I'm not embarrassed to talk about my story, but I don't feel like it's necessary for me to give super crazy details unless they fall into the story, right?
Sure.
So Casey and I both grew up in the dirt. out in Vail, Arizona, which is a small town by Tucson. Started riding dirt bikes and things like that really late. It was when you talk about professional stuff, like 12, 14 years old. But we fast-tracked it because we want to be professional dirt bike racers. Fast-tracked it, so we got to be professional in 5 years for Casey and 7 years for me. So it was way faster than what normal kids do. But in that duration of time, you break a lot of bones because you're not riding easy. You're going faster than what you can handle, right? So that teaches you a lot. It teaches you how to handle pain, and it also teaches you that you have zero patience in your life, right?
Absolutely.
But, so we go through that. We reach a professional status, not professional status like big ballers and making all kinds of money in factory rides and stuff, but it was enough for us, right? Like
making $200 from the AMA so you get gas to get home.
Oh, I got $500.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wait, did you just do this to me?
I don't know.
But
One up. He was way faster though, so he was making the night shows way before I could even come close. So it was a fast track, and that taught us a lot in our lives. And I got hurt.
Biggest thing would be focus, I would say, in that hard work and focus.
Yeah, exactly, because you got to do better than everybody else, right? There's a lot of details and stuff that come in that story, but for the short story, I broke my back and got paralyzed. And so that started a new pivot or a new segment of my life. Right. So that was segment 1. Segment 2 was moving out to Southern California, starting my business career. So I got a computer science degree, and then went in Tucson, Arizona. Went to the U of A and a technical school, and then took that computer science degree, came out to Southern California, and got a job in the action sports industry, which was super cool. Again, perspective, I wasn't the computer guy. I was ingrained in what they did, but I could work on the stuff that they needed to get worked on. So they would interview all kinds of people, and it just so happened that none of those people matched up with the vibe. Like they couldn't, like they would go in there and they'd be, I don't know, like, and I don't mean this as a derogatory comment, but they'd be the total computer nerd, right? And everybody else in there is going surfing and like going bicycle riding at lunch and all this stuff. Didn't work. Like the culture was, it didn't work. Just like if somebody came in here and they were a sissy, it wouldn't work, right? They would probably never want to come back because you got to be pretty, you got
to have thick skin around
here. Thick skin at Warfighter Made, because that's the vibe, right? So it's the same kind of concept. And so,
how many times did you pull the, could you just restart it and try again?
Oh, like 700 times. And but the cool part about it is every time I would do that and somebody would be like, I'd already tried that. Then I'd say I was fixing their computer and I'd put like a sound effect on there. So every time they got an email, it would make like a chicken noise or something.
Like one of these?
So I would, anything. Yeah. But I would totally jack with them because it was like ridiculous, right? And so they would never make that mistake again. Right. So they would restart it before they called me next time because they didn't want to get fucked with.
That's a pretty good, it's a pretty good tactic, actually.
Yeah, and so that translated into a lot of cool things because I was a computer guy in an industry that didn't have very many computer guys. So it was pretty cool because I was, I don't know what you want to call it, 1 in a million kind of person, right? And then so I was able to start my own business, and that business got bought by some of you guys may know them, the Blink-182 guys, Mark and Tom. So I was partners with them, and I ran a multi-million-dollar company with those guys. It was really, really cool, man. I learned a lot. And then so we can talk about that too, because a lot of people have zero idea about my business acumen. Is that the right business experience?
For sure.
But that actually translated into a lot of the stuff that we know now, right? Like marketing and sponsorships and how to deal with people.
There's that full circle again we were talking about.
Yeah. So, and then after that, I kind of got bored and didn't like Southern California at the point. So I moved back to Arizona to be with my family and closer. And that kind of got me going again to be out in the dirt. So I started bicycle riding, mountain biking, dirt bike riding again.
RC car racing,
yeah, and I just wanted to do more. So I actually ended up being able to get an invite to go to the X Games, and that was super cool because I was riding a dirt bike at the time, still with limited use of my body, and I got to go participate in all that stuff. It was crazy, right? And one detail that I want to talk about, because it talks about willpower and stuff, is when I was at the X Games, I was like sleeping on the start. I got a completely crappy hole shot, and I went through and I passed up to, I think I started 8th, and there was only 10 dudes, and I started 8th, and then I passed up to, I think, 2nd place, wadded it up, high-sided, hit the ground really hard. It was like cement almost, and I broke my arm.
Right on focus on the TV.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah. So, and that leads to another cool thing is they saw me eat crap on TV, and I was the only dude at the X Games, even like Kevin Windham and all these dudes that are doing freestyle. I was the only dude to make Sports Center. So like,
because it had to do you getting up.
Yep.
and doing your
I kind of feel like it had to do more with me eating shit hard.
Paralyzed walk. No, because you did your paralyzed walk.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Picked your bike back up.
Yep.
Right? And that's what they were focusing on.
That's pretty inspiring. And you know what's crazy here is like timeout. There's like so many. This is my problem. I'm the detail. And I know all the inside. So like I want to throw like, okay, so you went like, we went like 0 to 100 and we're only like not even a quarter of the way there. But like there's so many things in there, like how the leg braces go.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know where to go with that. Like I want to deep dive because I think all of that is so important.
Well, let me just get through the whole thing and then we'll deep dive. Is that cool?
Yeah, love it.
And
Perfect.
then, okay. And then so that told me a lot because it told me how valuable not winning a race is. So the perseverance and the willpower is that I still got up with a broken arm. I got back on the track. I passed 2 people. I finished the race, all barely holding on with one arm, just letting my other arm just like basically dead sitting there on the handlebars. Passed 2 people. I went straight to the podium because I was so fucking mad. I said, you know what? If I can't be up here, I'm going to go and watch my competition and congratulate every single one of them and shake their hand. I'm not even going to say anything about my arm. I'm just going to go congratulate them because that's where I want to be. And if I don't accept that I want to be there, I'll never see this time again. If they don't have me back, I'm going to sit and watch this.
Absolutely.
So I sat and watched them, made sure like everybody knew that I was so stoked on them. Then I went to Taco Bell and to the hospital and got my arm fixed.
Taco Bell. So what's funny about that real quick is that we talked about all the broken bones and et cetera, et cetera. So that moment was able to happen because of all the
previous stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like every little thing. That's what's so crazy to me.
Yeah. Fun fact. So to date, I've broken every bone in my body except for my humerus.
Nice. Well,
I gotta take care of that for you right now.
Just do it real quick. We got some tools.
It'll be real humorous.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
Sanders Cody just said glad to be tuning into the show tonight. Awesome. And Randy Sharp, George is a stud and an inspiration for most.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that, man.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that over there, Rob, too. That's awesome.
Yeah, so are you seeing
I can't.
Are you seeing the Facebook stuff coming in?
Sorry, everybody.
I'm on my own Facebook.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
There's some stuff. I don't know if you can see that one, Case, on the YouTube stuff.
Can't see that one.
But yeah, so to fast forward, like, and then I started training for doing the X Games again for the following year. And unfortunately, I crashed again on the dirt bike and broke my back for a 3rd time. And at that point, like, I was still like, okay, cool, I can fix this and I'll heal up again and I can go out there. But then when I saw my family, they came to the doctor with me and they were just crying there because the doctor was like, dude, you can't fuck yourself up anymore. And so I sat there and I looked at my mom and my sister and I'm like, George, you're an idiot. Like, this is not just hurting your body. This is hurting everything around you.
Right.
So you got to quit. And then so I focused. I was like, all right, well, I got to figure out something else to do. So I started getting into road bike riding, like pedal bikes, like Lance Armstrong kind of stuff for people that don't know. And that's why I'm so into it now is because I was supposed to never be able to do that, you know, like being in a wheelchair and getting paralyzed and all that stuff. That's actually something I kind of skipped over. It took me 5 years to be able to walk again from the wheelchair.
Well, that's where that the brace thing is so big in my mind because, I mean, you were at my wedding in a wheelchair doing wheelies.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't that much far later. It was like, hey, I'm racing X Games.
It seemed like it was, but it seems like it was close, right? Yeah. But it's crazy, right? And
so people understand, explain like your feeling process and what do you have? Because people see you walk. I know Tanner Godfrey goes through this.
Yeah.
People see Tanner walk and like, oh, he can feel his legs. They just don't work so good. Which
that's basically the same thing as me. So, for me, like I broke L1, it's called L1 burst. I broke T12 and T7 at some point. So there's little injuries in the spinal cord there. But the one that really messed me up, it's basically not having any movement from the belt line down. But for some reason, I was blessed to be able to still use about a 16th of my quadricep muscle. So, in fact, like a good explanation, Casey and I went on a bicycle ride. We both did the same distance because we were riding together. It was 30 miles. But it was about the equivalent of him doing 100 to 120 miles when I was going the same pace as him. The amount of calories I burned, my heart rate, all of those things. So the muscles that I have are very limited. I can't move anything except for my knees up and down. So like I got no butt muscles, no calf muscles, nothing, and I can't feel any of it. So it's kind of like what Tanner told you or what people asked Tanner. But I don't ever see that. My perception is not that. My perception is I am so thankful that I can stand up. Like the first time that I got out of a wheelchair and I stood up with those parallel bars, like it was like the most I don't know, liberating thing I've ever felt in my life. It was like like your whole body takes a deep breath. It was so crazy. Like I've never felt something like that before. And then when I felt it, I was like, Jesus, this is exactly what I need to focus my life on. So that's why I put all that effort into getting out of the wheelchair. And everybody's story is different, right? There's guys that are way, way worse than what I am, and they fight for it. But if I can at least help somebody, even if they're not in a wheelchair and they want to get out and lose weight or whatever, like that's what I want to do, and help show people that by the feelings that I've went through.
Yeah, and I think the uniting factor, or the same feeling that people have with like the little micro victory, right? Like for you, it was, I mean, I don't know the whole process, but I can imagine it's like, oh, I got a little teeny bit of feeling. Oh, I got this. Now I'm standing up. Like each one of those is like an important micro victory that like goes to the whole picture. You know what I mean? And I still think people do that in their normal life.
Right.
So I think there's actually a lot of
correlation.
There is. I don't think everybody's so different, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like we do that. Maybe we can't get out of math class or something, right? And it's that little thing, and it's the perseverance. And then again, yeah, the perspective, having the right perspective on it. Because at the time, it might seem like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but it's not.
Right, exactly. I mean,
actually, that's what a lot of the stuff that you guys do is the little victories.
It's everything's a little victory. Yep. From, you have somebody that's a veteran that has an invisible injury, which traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress, and it's really a lot of people say day by day. It's really a moment by moment,
right.
And for a lot of vets, just getting out of bed is a little victory,
right?
And so you got to celebrate that, and
absolutely,
and it's what we're out here doing, and eventually then it's, you're getting up, you're getting dressed, you're getting outside, which is a big deal for a lot of vets. And then, we're trying to get you to come out to Warfighter Made events like Adrenaline Therapy Saturday and put you behind the wheel of a Polaris Razor or something like that, and just let you have a little fun again.
It's exactly what Casey's talking about, the building blocks, right? Yeah, and so I should probably preface it by saying this too, is like when I get up in the morning, I don't have a smile. Like I'm fucking pissed. Like I wake up and it's like, hey George, you're back to reality. Like that body is not doing very well.
Right.
Like, and you have to deal with all of this same stuff that you just dealt with yesterday.
Right.
Like you still got to do it.
Right.
Like today is not that new of a day. So you got to change your mind and make it a new day in your mind.
Absolutely. Mindset. That's the other one. And that's not a P word, but that's huge. And that I feel like that's kind of the centerpiece of the show since the beginning.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and we've had so many cool guests come on too, like that talk about that.
So inspiring to see that whatever it is they're dealing with, that they somehow overcome and get through it and keep moving.
But yeah, so like I mean, I get up in the morning and I'm not stoked, right? Like, and it's not because of anything that's around me; it's because of what I'm dealt with. You know what I mean? Like, you've heard it before. Then you talked about with the invisible injuries, Rob. Like, you're trapped in this body. Like, you can't get out. You can't go take your car and get a new one.
Right.
Like, this is it. Like, you don't have anything else.
Right.
So whatever you get, like your knee and your leg is messed up still. Like, you're getting over it, right? It might get a little bit better, but dude, you're stuck with that bad boy.
Well, then it's that again. So this is where we'll go with the perspective and the perception. The perception is like with that invisible injury, like Rob said. Other people's perception is, well, they look fine.
Yeah.
But like there's this inner thing that you can't explain it. So that's where you have to make the shift and decide, okay, what is it that my new normal is? And I'm going to do that the best I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
The new normal is something that we talk about all the time. For veterans, how you were before you went into the military or before you went to combat, that's not you anymore.
Right.
You have experiences that very few other people have.
Sure.
So let's figure out your new normal and drive on with that.
Yeah.
And be happy with that.
Yeah. And I think they become like positive mile markers on your timeline, right? They're not like, it's
you
easy.
can turn them into that.
It's easy for me to say because I don't have that exactly what we're talking about. But we've had our own things. I've had my own things, and yeah, that's just one more mark on the timeline.
Yeah.
And then it's like a new reset. Well, how do we move forward from here? And like you said, sometimes it's a minute at a time,
or chapters in a book.
There you go,
Dude.
Hey,
Yeah.
this chapter's over.
Yep.
Close
Yep.
that book.
Yep.
Or close that chapter. Let's rewrite. The next chapter.
Yeah, I like that. I
And,
like that better.
The Foresters love you and miss you.
Yeah, miss you guys.
Here in Tucson.
Callie, boy, AZ Tech, what's up? Lily, what's up, girl?
Is that my Lily?
Yep, I think so.
Awesome. What's up, kid?
And then we got a bunch of stuff coming in on Facebook. I think you're reading all those, right?
I got you, yeah.
So thanks. I don't know if you can see the YouTube one's case, but yeah, and it's crazy. And so I'll keep going on with the life story or the Cliffs Notes version of it. And then so I started racing or riding those long endurance rides on the bicycle, and it was working out good, but it's boring, right? Like, I mean, you're just sitting there on a pedal bike unless you're exploring, right? But I was like in the mood of going like as hard as I could, get my body going. And then I was working for a guy you guys probably all know, Casey Curry at the time, doing some web projects and programming and stuff like that for him. And he invited me to go out to a off-road race. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, and then I go out to a Lucas Off-Road Pro event, whatever it was. And I see these trucks going around. It looks like motocross. And I see him go around and I'm like, that is the baddest thing ever. Like, you can sit down and like race on jumps in the dirt. Like, I'm in.
You're encompassed in a cage?
Yeah, like, this is it, right? Like, does it hurt your back? No, it's okay. You can use a seat pad. Boom, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, we're good.
Awesome.
And
stay out of pro lights.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. But and then so he invited me to go test on a pro light, and I was like,
Of course you did.
This is different.
Yeah, and I was like, this is badass. Like, this is so cool. Like, I'll just put a bigger seat pad in it. And then he goes, all right, this is how much it's going to cost. And I go, nope.
Yeah.
We're out. This is
What
way.
did it cost to start it?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. He's like, it costs about $10,000-$15,000 to go out testing. I'm like, there's no way. And so I was like, and then I went to a couple more races just to help him out and do stuff. And right at that time, I think it was 2012-ish, maybe 2011. UTVs kind of started coming on the scene, like the Polaris Razors and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe I could do that. But still, it was way too expensive. So I went and used my business knowledge and stuff like that. And I went and started talking to some of the people that we had as clients and some of the people that I knew, and got some sponsors for just doing the bicycle stuff. Mm-hmm. And we had like a group of guys that rode bicycles with us, so it was easy because I could put the logos on everybody's outfits and like we could talk about it. And I did like cool in-store meet and greets at like places like Supercuts, who came on board as a sponsor, and I was able to work for them as like a marketing partner and motivate their employees. So one cool campaign that we did was we went in and motivated all their employees at Supercuts, and during the next about 6 to 9 months, they had increased sales by almost 25% at 40 or 50 locations in the Southwest. So, nice. I mean, that's millions and millions of dollars, right? So I was able to use that as my leverage, and I went in and talked to the woman that I was talking to. Her name's Rochelle, and I said, hey, you know what? If in 4 or 5 years I can actually get pay for half of my first UTV, will you pay for the other half? And it worked out. Like 4 years down the road, I was able to have Supercuts pay for half of my first UTV that I bought from the Rockstar Energy UTV Wolfpack from Jason Merrill, and I got a side-by-side to go racing, short course racing. So it was like this big, long journey that, worked out.
Sure. That started with you changing those workers' perspective on life.
Yeah, exactly. And in all those little things and those little details, but for me, it was this 4-year goal that I just wanted to do, right? I would do anything and knock down anything in my path and go through it just to get this goal done, right? And during that time, I had to make an impact. So I was this dude that wasn't supposed to ride a bicycle. Now I'm doing it. And I got invitations to do stuff. I got an invitation to do an Ironman. That never happens, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And I was like, what the fuck is an Ironman? Like, I don't know what that is. Never done a triathlon, never done anything like that, ever. Like, the most swimming I did was at the lazy river drinking beer. Like, that's it.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. I love the lazy rivers are like tacos for me.
So speaking of tacos, John Lewis just came over and said, George, we've had talks about how much of an inspiring person I think you are, but the people want to know, If you could do more moto, supercross racing, or cycling, what type of tacos are you going to eat?
That's a good question. Actually, let's just say chicken because that's the healthiest one, right?
There you go. Okay.
Does it change seasonally?
Yeah, it changes daily, man.
So I think I know the answer because I know you well enough. But do you think, or will you say that back when you were dipping your toe in the water, in the marketing water of the bicycle, was that the end goal? The
off-road racing?
Yeah, exactly. Or did it kind of just naturally? Right.
No,
like I know you started with, hey, this is how we. Okay.
That was the end goal. Like I didn't know what I wanted to drive, but UTVs were the cheapest one, so that was just default, right? Like so you just go there. I mean, like everybody wants to drive a Pro 4.
Sure.
But the UTVs was default because there's no way I'm going to be able to afford a Pro 4. And I knew the budgets that we were working with, like in the cycling stuff, and it was pushing it to be able to get in the side-by-side stuff. So there was no way I was getting any more money.
Sure.
So I knew what the limits were, and it really structured the way that I think about asking for sponsorships and stuff now. So,
but it built what I'm getting at is I feel like it built a baseline and it was the building blocks to build the next piece of the puzzle or the building, I guess. And the reason I say it is because there's plenty of people that out of nowhere, like we've all heard this, oh, well, I could do that if I had X, Y, and Z.
No, you can't. You got to do it on your own first.
Right. You need to put the time and effort in and the hard work.
100%. Nothing comes for free, ever. And so if you get a sponsorship, that's because you worked your ass off to get that sponsorship. So.
Right. So we have I don't want to skip these. This guy sounds like he has a lot of fun. Banshee Mayhem.
Whoa.
That's definitely
fun.
Does
he got a Toomey kit on the Banshee?
I'm sure. There's no noise that sounds different or that sounds like that. Is there?
Toomey kit?
Totally. What's up, guys? Just wanted to say hello and love the show. Thank you, Banshee. Brian Hawkins. Oh, man. Soundboard Jeff needs to travel with you. Soundboard Jeff.
Oh,
I'm not good at the soundboard.
Jeff Angel, Jeff was doing a fantastic job hitting the switches last show.
Nice. And then Brian Hawkins, this is a good one. Can you talk about how losing one sense, like vision, do the other senses pick up something like having more smells or like we talked about? We talked about this in the Cinders.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, so we'll talk about it a little bit more because we can talk about the detail stuff. But the last injury that I had, I don't have any vision in my red eye anymore. It depends, Brian. Like, I got so jacked up that no, the senses didn't take over. Like everything else was so jacked up, it couldn't. Like it didn't have a chance to come back. Mm-hmm. Like my scent, my smell, and my taste, and all of the different things that are messed up in my head. No, it doesn't. But there are certain things that you can tune up, at least in your mentality, to be able to seem like it covers it.
Sure.
Like, what if you never saw with your right eye ever? Your left eye can think that it's doing it properly.
Right.
But the reason that I say that is because I knew what it took from both eyes. Like I knew what it is to see from both eyes. So if I have to turn that off in my head, not knowing that and not remembering that and erasing what that was, then I think and my perspective and my perception of using only my left eye becomes clear.
Sure.
Because that's all I know now,
right,
if I erase what I had before.
Well, that's that mind over matter thing and how powerful the brain actually is when you can tap into how to adjust.
Right. And it wasn't even really an adjustment. It was an adjustment in my mindset, not what they're thinking, like when they say, when Brian says that it's taking over or something's compensating. It's not that.
Sure.
It's your mind being able to tell you, you can't do it that way. Your new normal is one eye. Forget about the old one.
Right.
It's just what you can see now. So
we had on IG, Cali Boy Aztec jumped in and said, amen, hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And then it looks like we got
Kate.
It's going so fast.
Yeah.
Official Kate Curtis, yeah. Hot sauce, hot pepper, and it's gone. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, we all love hot sauce, hot peppers. We had a good quesadilla that was pretty hot at the RC races yesterday.
We did, actually.
But yeah, so just to continue, because I really want to get through this so you guys can start asking questions and we can really get in the meat of it.
Yep.
So I decided that I wanted to go race off-road and short course and stuff. So that was like my foray into it. No idea what I was doing. No idea how much work it was going to be. Nothing. Like I didn't know. Like I kind of thought it was going to be like dirt bikes where you wash the dirt bike after the race and you can keep going again. No, it's 20 times more work. It's 4 tires means 100 times more work.
Right. multiplier.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool. Like I got out there and I started doing it, and it really changed my mind. And I always tell people that I like racing because it takes me out of that normal that I'm used to. Like it puts me in a place. Like if your race is 15 minutes, that 15 minutes is the most freeing, forgiving time that you have, because you don't think about any of this stuff. Like, maybe what Rob and his guys get engulfed with the memories that they have, or me with my body being injured. I only focus on one little thing, and that's getting around the track as fast as I can and beating the other people that are out there. So for me, that was liberating. It wasn't stressful. It was just putting myself in a position where I just had so much fun and I forgot about everything else. So that's why I liked it so much. And we raced from 2014 basically until 2019. I was able to achieve a professional status. I was able to work with great brands like UTV Wolfpack, all kinds of different sponsors, and really integrate well with Yamaha at one point. So it was really cool. I learned a ton about marketing. I learned a ton about the way that you have to be with people, and I learned a lot about what you can do yourself to be able to go out there and achieve your goals. And then, unfortunately, I got hurt again in 2019. I got at the UTV World Championship. I tipped over in a corner. I got out, walked to the side of the track, stood there for a little bit, waited till the track was clear, walked back over, see if I could push the car over. Couldn't do it. It was too heavy. So I started walking back to the side of the track because my race was done. And right when I did that, the track was pretty much clear. Like I couldn't hear anybody coming. I saw some people like saying that it was okay, it cleared across or whatever. Just as I walked off the track, my car was sitting like this on its side. I was walking kind of next to it. A guy came over and he went to dodge me. He kind of got out of the way, but then somebody ran in the back of him, and it pushed him into me. And if you know on race cars, Rob knows this, the door bar, like where you'd put your arm on your passenger vehicle, like where the window is, that's a solid tube, a solid metal tube. And there was so much of an impact that solid metal tube, I went through his window net with my head. The solid metal tube went underneath my helmet and inside where my neck brace was. So I still had all my safety gear on, and it was like, dude, you get hit by lightning easier than this.
Yeah.
And it ended up hitting me and uppercutting me in the jaw and shattering my whole skull. And so my eyes fell out of my head. Like I crushed all my ears. Like my whole skull was broken. Like just so much stuff. Broke my collarbone, some bones in my hand. Like just gnarly stuff. But that's not the point to focus on, right? The point to focus on was after that, like Brett Carpenter, who we just mentioned, I laid up, like I woke up when I was on the ground because I think some dude ran me over or something. Like it woke me up. And I kind of like, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. I just knew, like, from dirt bike racing, you have to take inventory on an injury.
Right.
And I was sitting there and I was going, fuck, dude, I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. Like something's really wrong. I'm in so much pain. Like it was the most pain that I don't even know how to explain the amount of pain.
Sure.
And at least I had a little bit of mental capacity to be able to do this. And so I took off my glove and I put my my hand over my face and my mouth, and I could feel liquid, and I couldn't see or do anything. So I tasted it, and I was like, dude, fuck, that's blood. And so there was blood coming out of my eyes, my ears, like everything, right? And so I was like, if I don't get my helmet off right this second, something bad's going to happen. Like the swelling is going to kill me because it won't be able to expand or something. Sure. So I was like, all right, I got to get my helmet off. So I sat up and I felt around what was around me, and I could feel like a tire or something on my car. And then so I felt where it was at, and I was on the bottom side. So I like pushed myself with my arms over to the back side of it so that if I got hit again, I was on the other side. At least it would help out a little bit. And I took my helmet off and I laid against the roof of my car, and I just like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say I died, but I was past, I was just like not there.
Right.
And I don't remember anything past that. Brett said he saw me right there. He pulled over, he stopped, he helped me. He waited till the medical crew got there, which was the guys, Dave and all of the crew at Race Safely. So thank you very much to those guys too. And then they got me situated to get on a helicopter, on a bird, and the dumbasses took me to Bullhead City, which is not a trauma hospital. So I got 2 rides. I had to go to Bullhead City and then haul ass up to Las Vegas Community or whatever the trauma center is up there. And there was so many details like what you're talking about, Case, like that happened in the meantime that like I don't even know how far I can get into it because it's going to make me like lose it probably. But in the hospital, I ended up losing my life. And at that point, like, it's one of those things that like is a moment that you'll never forget because they call it an NDE, which is a near death experience. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the near is needed. For me, it was just a DE, a death experience. That's all it was. And it was one of those things that like I feel so crazy talking about it. And I always tell everybody this, like I feel like an idiot when I say this because it feels like it's surreal, like it's not real. But I was sitting there and I was laying in bed and I had this total sucky nurse. Like she was a total B, the worst nurse on the planet. And she was in charge of me that night. And for some reason, I didn't feel good. Like I had a stomach ache. Like I just felt like I was in a lot of pain. And I was just like, hey, can you get me some pain meds? And she's like, no, you're good. Like you can handle it. And I was like, yeah, but it was like 6 hours ago that I had pain medicine. It might not have been, but whatever the case. And so she was totally being a jerk to me. And then I just was kind of laying there in bed and I just started not feeling anything. I just started feeling like euphoric. And for the last, 10, 15 years, my body has been in a lot of pain, like it still is now.
Right.
And I was laying there and I didn't feel any pain. I didn't feel anything. I felt so relieved and relaxed. And then I just started kind of like being like, wow, this is fantastic. This is great. Like, what do I need to do to get more of this? And then I started seeing like, I don't know, like it wasn't a white light or anything, but I started seeing myself from a third person perspective, like kind of like looking at me and I go, man, that dude looks happy. Like I want that. And then I was just at the most peace I've ever been in my life. And I can't even put words into like how I felt. Like it was so insanely easy and calming. And then all of a sudden, all I hear is all kinds of like beeps and stuff. And then this dude going, he's back. And then so I go, he's back. Like, who are you? Like, are you talking to me? Like,
I've been here this whole time.
I thought I was in this room by myself. Like, I thought this room, and I was like, is there somebody else over there? And he's like, no, it's you, dude. You're back. And I was like, where did I go? Like, I was fine, right? And then the total B of a nurse, she walks in and she goes, what's going on? And he goes, he's back. Like he was gone. Like he was dead or whatever. Like he goes, what do you want me to do? Do I need to report this? She goes, no, he's fine. And that was the end of it. Like it was the weirdest and most crazy situation I've ever.
Did you see her again?
After that?
Yeah.
No, never. Not
crazy.
Ever. After that at all. Never again. So maybe she was the what do they call it?
Angel of Death.
Yeah, what is that guy called?
Grim Reaper.
Grim, yeah, maybe she was the Grim Reaper for me. But yeah, it's getting me all like sensitive or worked up right now just thinking about it. But at that, I didn't even realize what was happening at the time. Like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand what the experience was. But as I learned and as my perception changed, my perspective changed over the next months and years, like I understood how valuable that. It was probably 15 seconds, but it felt like an eternity.
Sure.
I realized how important that piece of life was going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And there's, again, with the details, this is where I start stumbling. There's all these little things that matter. Like the reason you knew to get your helmet off is because we blew our legs off and knew we needed to get our boot off. Otherwise, for us at the time, it was because it cost money. Shoot, when I heal up, I'm not going to be able to buy a new pair of boots. Right? Like all those little things.
But had I not taken my helmet off, I would have died in my helmet.
But that's what I'm saying is like each one of those pieces, like it's so important. And what I throw out to all the kids or whoever that's starting to race, like whatever you're doing right now, it's like the most important thing. And you got to put everything into it and absorb it and understand that is going to lead to the next thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. But make sure you keep a logbook of it and like understand and learn from these things.
Right.
Because those little experiences will mean a lot at some point.
Absolutely.
You got on IG, you got awesome dudes getting a lot out of this. computer geek turned race dude. Much respect from Ben, Gold Coast, Australia.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Australia? That's cool that you guys are listening right now. I don't know what time it is over there, but we appreciate it, bud. Let me see here. What time is it? Because James Jeremiah is going to come on. I think he might be over here trying to get on here.
It's 5:51.
Nope, he hasn't tried to join yet, so we'll wait and we'll see when he comes on. But yeah, man, it was nuts, and there's so many little things that have happened since then, and like all of the things that have happened. I mean, including this award here for the Perseverance Award that I got in 2019. Actually, we should get into the number 19 thing right now.
Do we talk about where you stole the number from me first? Or?
Yeah, let's do that, and then people can decide, like after I give them all this stuff, like if it was meant for me.
Well, it was.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
It was, obviously, but here's how it starts. We both have our KX80s.
Hang on a sec,
right?
James. We'll get you on just a sec.
We both have our KX80s. I'm a little bit older than you. And out of nowhere, this number 3 pops up. So I just put a number 3 on my bike. And then you had a number 3. And there was
I had pink ones.
You did have pink ones. And who knows why? It just did. Oh, shoot. Well, I can't run number 3 anymore.
But I've even told Rob, like, I looked up to you my whole
No, it's not a
career.
problem. It's like, oh, shoot. Okay, let's go to the next thing. So
I just wanted to be like the fast guy.
So this happened a few times. And then you remember when Monster Truck would come in town?
Yeah.
So monster trucks would come in town, and they would be looking for a group of guys to race during the halftime show or whatever it is.
Oh, on the dirt bikes.
Exactly. So I got invited one year. Always wanted to. Finally got invited, and shoot, I don't know what number to run. So I picked what was on the wall at Donnie Zip's Tucson ATV shop, which was a 1 and a 9.
Oh, they were just the ones that were
I
left
had
there?
no reason to have it. I just thought, hey, that's cool, whatever. I'm putting that on there. So I used that number that night, and then whatever it was, we came riding again, and you had 19 on your bike, but
nice.
but not because I did. You just had it.
No, Doug Henry is my guy.
Okay, there you go, perfect. So I peeled it off and was like, all right, he's gonna own 19. We're good to go. And then that was the number forever that you ran, which is so cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I'm not a superstitious guy at all, but I do think it's crazy how things transpire, right? And that number 19 became so much of a. I got paralyzed when I was 19 years old. When at the UTV World Championship, when I got hurt, when I got my face crushed, I was number 119. When I raced the next UTV World Championship, thank you for the Perseverance Award, it was 19 months later. And there's so many different 19s that fall into it. I think it was like on October 19th or something. Like, there were so many different numbers that came into it. And when I started thinking about that stuff and the situation that I had with my not NDE, my DE, I started opening up my head a little bit more. Not that I wasn't trying to have a clear perception in the beginning, but now it's like, hey, dude, you really can open up your eyes now. And so, like, not to sound like a crazy person, but I pay attention to everything that's around me. And when I lived in Vail, Arizona, I had an owl that lived there. I always felt like it was like my grandpa looking over me or whatever, like something like that. Well, you know what? I live in Temecula, California now. That dude is still there right next to my room.
Even at 10, 19?
Always. Always, man. And yeah, and maybe it is at 10, 19. Like, I don't know when he does his hooing his hooting.
Hooting and hollering.
Yeah. But like little things like that. And like, it's crazy how all that stuff does. And I don't mean to sound crazy because I'm not superstitious. I'm not any of that stuff.
Right.
But
it's just being aware.
Well, I feel like it's just I have an open mind. I have an open perception of the things that are going on around me. So I don't just close my eyes and say, oh, that guy's crazy for thinking that an owl is his grandpa or something. You know what I mean? I just open my eyes and live it and accept it.
Lake Life Shibby just came on. I'm so damn happy you're telling your story to the world. Super stoked for you, my dude. You have shown me so much in life.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it, man. You guys did a lot for me, too, so I actually should not forget about this because this actually has a big meaning to the whole story, too, is that when you do have bad things happen to you, Rob knows this firsthand, a support mechanism is massive in anything that you do, and I had all kinds of good human beings around me. Just to make it short, they had a fundraiser for me, and all kinds of companies in the off-road industry got in, donated products, money, all of this different stuff. And Cody put together this massive event. In fact, it was the largest off-road or side-by-side event that still happened in Tucson, Arizona. All these people came to support me, and it was crazy because at the time, A little detail is I could barely sit up at my house. I was still that hurt. Barely sit up, and I mustered up enough willpower and enough strength in my body to be able. I slept for 2 days afterwards, but to be able to go to this event, and I got all the love, and I soaked it all in, and I talked to people, even though I couldn't see them. I pretended like I could, just so that I saw the smile on their face, like with the hugs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so even though I couldn't see them, I could feel them, and I knew that they were smiling, and all of that stuff meant so much to me because. Just about like people helping each other. It wasn't about, well, they wanted to win products and stuff too, but everything around it was based around me, right? And I didn't understand it like right there at the time because I was still so hurt. I was kind of going through the rehab process. But as I figured it out and as I kind of went through this process, like we had medical bills that were at $500,000 through this one instance, right? And there's no way that any fundraiser is going to raise $500,000 really, right? Like that for one person, like this doesn't happen. So, they were just trying to do whatever they could to help out. And it just so happens that during that whole time I was seeing doctors to be able to see if I could get teeth replaced, my jaw aligned, like all of this stuff, to be able to eat and to actually be able to function and bite things. Cause I couldn't, like everything was so broken. I couldn't even eat food. I didn't have any saliva, nothing.
However, you still were able to get a taco down, although it was blended.
After.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was.
It was all after it, yeah. Oh, the blending stuff, yeah. The blended one, yeah. I used a syringe to do that.
And then Mike Gardner started the blended taco challenge for everybody.
Oh, God, did you see what some of those people ate on those challenges? It was like that blended food challenge. Some dude in Tucson, that's Cody's buddy, did anchovies, hot sauce, and it was Bud Light or Coors Light.
Oh, man.
And he wore camouflaged overalls while he did it, too. like he was going fly fishing. Dude, that dude was so funny. But, yeah, like Mike Gardner and all those dudes.
Let's get to James.
All right, we can talk to James. But I wanted to thank those guys for doing that because all that money went to me getting teeth. So it was really cool because now I'm able to eat tacos.
Nice.
And believe me when I tell you this, those teeth are way better than your OG teeth.
Oh, way better, dude.
Way better.
Way better.
Them little baby teeth you had going on.
Dude, those got broken so many times. It would look like I got hit by a baseball bat in a gang fight, right?
Exactly.
But James will be a good person to talk about perspective, too.
Chewing on firecrackers.
What's up, James?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
All right, let me put him on the screen here. All right, go for it, Case. All
James.
Right. So, well, I know James better than you, so I'll do the intro. So James Jaramillo is a spinal cord injury person just like me. He actually crashed on his dirt bike. You can go check out his episode because he was one of the first episodes in the Dirt Life. I think he was like within the first top 20 episodes, weren't you, James?
Yeah, I was right at the beginning when you started doing it.
Boss, dude. Well, thanks for helping out. Like when we were beginning building blocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's story time, so that was a good episode.
But James is one of my inspirations actually because he still lives life in a wheelchair, but his perception and his reality and the things that he does and the things that he actually is able to do with his limited function, just like me, is mind blowing. Like literally mind blowing to me still. He still races professional side-by-side stuff. You know, I don't anymore, but he goes out there. He's probably going to race the GAS Great American Short Course Series coming up, and he builds his own race cars and gets everything lined up to the way his body works. So his perception and perspective on the world and what's around him is beyond what I've even been able to open my brain up to, because he doesn't see it as a limitation, what he's building. He sees it as something that can help everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's pretty cool to be able to talk about perspective and perception with James.
James, what can you add to having to figure out how to do it? I guess that's kind of a general statement, but adapt, overcome. I think that's that's in your vocabulary. You live that daily.
I feel like it should be his middle name.
Yeah, that might be a tough middle name, but or my right now it's my dad's middle name, so that might be a little bit of the argument to try to get that fixed. But as far as adapting, overcoming, what I would say is kind of from what I've experienced, whether it's building a car or anything else is, and I think it's one of those things that's a little cliche. We've all kind of said it a lot, but it's one of those things that's almost harder to remember it, especially when you're going through the hard times. But just really just working with the information that you have at the time and just doing everything that's just kind of focusing on what you can control. Like when I would build the hand controls, we've got a really dialed in system right now, which is a relief to be able to say, because I think it's I haven't really had to tweak it much for about 2 years lately, and it's been great. It's been something that I haven't had to really try to work on for quite a while. But in those hard times of trying to get the steering figured out, a lot of that was when we were trying to get a hydraulic system worked out. So then I knew that the only thing I could work with was the hydraulics. So then it's a deep dive learning of how can we control these hydraulics to make it work better. Then once the electronics got better, and then once we thought, oh, well, maybe we could do a steer-by-wire type thing, it was learning almost a little bit of robotics and just learning what I could control within that system to make that better. And then now with the high-powered electronic e-pass systems that they have now it's learning more about how we can make those better to get the feel that I need in the car. And then same thing with the brakes. It's been playing with brake pressures, learning what we could the things that we're able to, the information that we have at hand, and how we could adjust that. There's certain, like with the brakes, I mean, you could probably really get crazy with it, but none of us know how to make those parts. So then, what are the parts we have access to, and how can we make it? And then I feel like everyone in their life has something like that they could work with. That you're just working with what you have and control what you can control.
Dude, he just became an expert in 3 or 4 different like mechanical areas just to achieve one goal, and that's to drive a race car.
To race. Hey, James, for everyone that's going to listen to this later on, or for those that don't know you, can you explain your injury a little bit and then talk about your race car and how your controls work? And let me caveat that the first time I met James was through Shelby Anderson at the UTV World Championships 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
And Shelby was just like, James uses hand controls. And I walked up, introduced myself, and I was like, hey, can I see your controls? And he says something to me that I assume is just like, yeah, So I stick my head in, and he's like, I'm peeing right now. And I'm like, oh, my bad. Sorry, dude.
Walk up on him, dude.
Sorry, bro. So I'm intimate. James and I are intimate. I don't want to brag.
Right. Okay.
So I have a what they call a C5 level spinal cord injury. So I got hurt back in 2004 out at the Sandy Valley motocross track on my YZ125 and just planning to slop beyond a triple jump, and had one of those tank slappers where it sends you left, right, and then a head dive into the dirt. And so your C5 vertebrae, it's about right in the middle of your neck. It's one of the more typical ones that break on the neck injuries. So like if you can touch like the back of your, in between your shoulder blades, the one that pops out, that's your C7. So then there's the 2 bumps above that's C5. So that's what I broke. And with that injury, you get, so it impairs, your arms will still typically work, but then you'll lose a lot of like your fine motor function around your arms. So like I have my shoulders and my biceps that work, but not my chest and my triceps. So like I can, for those of you watching, I can push a weight, like kind of like curl up, like I'm doing a curl at the gym. But then if I want to like lift away from my body like that, I can't, like, I need to like throw my arm out. I can't control that movement. And then my wrist will move up, but then I can't move my fingers. So, which makes it, I have pretty weak arms, strong enough to push my chair around, but not too strong. It makes it difficult to drive a race car because they're just set up to have such a heavier steering feel than what I can move. So that's been our big issue to try to get a car set up. And then same with the brakes as well. So what we learned on the race car was, since I can't grip the steering wheel, we have what we call a tri-pin. So it's a pin that I wrap my hands around and then around on my fingers. And then there's 2 little pins to stabilize my wrist. So I use that for steering.
It's like a little cradle.
Yeah.
To go like, and almost like the bus drivers use, but it's way more decked out.
Right. Bigger.
Yeah. Like one of those like spinner bus driving knobs. And then I have a lever on my left-hand side for my throttle and brake that's basically the same type of tri-pin, and I pull it back for gas and press forward for brake. And what we learned is to try to keep it close to my body. So like we'll cut out the throttle cables. Now they're all sensors, not cables anymore. Master cylinders, moving everything down by the seat so I could get as close to it as possible to press it. And then on my steering wheel, what we've learned is instead of me trying to reach out to the steering wheel like you normally would, it's a lot more arm strength. So we have my steering wheel flat in my lap, kind of like a bus or a sprint car.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go as far, so I get a better control over the steering.
Yeah, and that movement that he has in his shoulder, he could do it.
Hence the reason why my face was going down towards his. My bad.
Hey, one of the craziest things that James does, though, because all the stuff that he's talking about is like a mechanical genius, right? But it's so simple. Casey, you'll like this. Tell him how you do the radio and the tear-offs.
Oh, I've got these elbow buttons. Well, they're heel buttons from Rugged that I'm happy I stumbled across them.
They're
one
like
day,
staple, hit the red Staples button.
The easy button?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then so I have my tear off button. I have these roll offs, kind of like old camera film on your face visor.
Yep.
So back to full throttle, it's on my arms in a spot that I can dab my tear off. So then I'll slap my elbow into my seat to dab the tear off button, and then for the radio I'll do the same. And then once I
just get it, wipe the vision clean, just smack it. It's so sick, dude. It's so cool. Yeah, Brian, it is crazy to do these stories. It actually makes me happy to talk about all this stuff, dude. It makes me feel good to have these open conversations. So it's rad.
Yeah, I think anytime. Well, I don't know. I can't speak from this chair. I can't speak to exactly what everybody's gone through, but I think a lot of times people think that they don't want to have that out. But I think it's good because like it's inspiring. You never know who it's going to inspire.
Yeah.
Like each little fight, like just hearing about like the button, like I'm already picturing you going through all kinds of every catalog you can think of. Like I need to find a button.
Yeah.
And then here you go. You find this perfect one that
Dude, you would be amazed at the research this dude does.
I'm sure.
But that's one thing I want to say before James answers what you're talking about is we're not just talking about us getting spinal cord injuries here. Like this is not like an injury contest or anything like that. Like the stuff you've been through in your life, the stuff Raul's been through in his life, all the guys that come into Warfighter Made, everybody that's listening in the audience, like everybody has their issues. Even if you're just like are depressed at your house,
Right.
All of this stuff is the same concept. If your perception changes, your perspective changes, you want to have a good day, you can make it a good day, right? Like all of this stuff goes all across the board.
Right. Agreed. 100.
All right. So the button.
Yeah.
Yeah, the button. So that's that was a tricky. That was a random deep internet blog find one. We thought was the greatest idea ever. So I'm glad that one stuck.
At least the YouTube is like college now, so you can just go find something on YouTube, get stuck in the vortex.
Right.
I could not imagine building these cars like 20 years ago when you have to go out of catalogs and everything. It would just take forever. And overnight shipping, you'd stretch out a car build like 2 years.
Right.
That's so true. Amazon hooked you up.
Government schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, real quick, no big deal. Hill just came in and was commenting on B-Hawk 568 and basically said, these are some boss dudes. Definitely makes me feel like a pussy when I complain. This episode should be taking place in IMG Motorsports right now.
Yeah.
But James' father passed away, so James, we're all thinking of you right now.
100%. We love James big time.
Tonight when I go home, I'm going to raise my glass to your dad in celebration of his life. And,
Yeah, 100%, dude. Cheers to that. Yeah. James' dad is a good dude, too. So, yeah. All right, Case.
So how about we talk about the? I know we kind of touched on moving the social media needle, but
yeah, I don't know how far we want to dig into this because I feel like this is going to be a vortex of questions. But like,
we'll just focus on because here's the problem. There's the muddy side of it, and then there's the positive side of it.
Okay,
and I think you got to walk the fine line and keep it positive.
All right. Can I change the subject?
Yeah.
Real quick. I got one more question that I want to bring it back to James.
Yeah, hit it.
On. James, so you're basically a quadriplegic incomplete.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And you've been racing now for 4 or 5 years in in your current state with your UTV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear about some of your victories, not necessarily the races that you've won, but the things that you've overcome, and the situations where you've gotten out of your car and just kind of did the old fuck yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I would say. Well, I'm still waiting to win a race, so that's that we're still working on that one. But I would say probably my most memorable one was my first Elsinore race that I did at a Lucas Oil Regional. Had no idea what I was doing. Showed up with my works car, and then Shelby and Hot Rod said, "Hey, you need to borrow these shocks that we have if you're going to try it." And they came out to help me spot. And I still had my big knobby tire blocks and everything. Like I was not even anywhere in a car. But it felt so much like motocross, and it was so much what I loved about when I used to ride my dirt bike, that then when I was getting back to the truck, and I mean, I got beat really bad. Like I was for sure way in the back. And, but just like the feeling of being on the track, the way the weekend went and everything, I remember I was driving back to my truck and I was thinking, there is no way that I'm not going to be doing this. I need to figure out a way to keep this in my life. And I'd say that's probably one of the coolest ones. And then since then,
you can see him smiling when he's thinking about it, dude.
I'm smiling when he's talking about it. It's perseverance.
George will agree with me on this one. Now looking back, it's one of those things that you wish you'd almost appreciate it more when you had it. George, how cool was the old Lucas Oils races, like the Arizona night races, like when you had the big crowd and everything, and just all the excitement? That was something that was really cool that I look back on, that just being a part of that and then kind of going through the whole process, and then you're showing up to like that show that I remember going and watching when I was first injured, watching my friends pro light races. And then now I'm doing what I saw happen 10 years ago. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah. Making Crandon and everything happen this year was awesome too. That was
dude, I'm still jealous of that he's ridden Crandon. That place looks so sick.
Bucket list.
Dude, yeah, I do remember that, James, because I remember looking up like at the grandstands at the Lucas races, and it was packed. Like you couldn't even find sitting room, and all of us little UTV guys are out there, like they're announcing our names and stuff. And I was like thinking the same thing that I thought at my first Supercross race. I was like, no effing way. Like, I'm not cool in my mind, but I'm cool now because look at all these people looking at me. Yeah,
they think I'm cool.
Yeah, George, I remember being out there thinking, who let me even come out here? I should not.
Dude, exactly. It's cool though, because that's the victories that Rob's talking about, man, is because those are huge mental victories.
When you can smell the funnel cakes when you're jumping through the finish line.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to finish this race quick.
That's the reason for the next lap, just to get a whiff of that.
Dude, exactly.
Get a bite of it.
That's so rad.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I remember too, is like one of the main reasons that I always wanted to get on the podium was not because I wanted to win the race. It's because I wanted to share my story and see what people thought about it. Like, hey, you can't see me in the race car. You don't know that anything's wrong with me. But once I get on that podium, you're going to know that my body's fucked up, and I can talk about it to you. So hopefully I can help share this and make a difference with some people. And it was cool because James knows this as well as I do. Like, I'm glad that people are watching the show, and I'm glad that people watch the Dirt Life and stuff. But as long as I can help change one person's life, I'm stoked. Like, I'm totally stoked. And James, I'm sure, talks to people even at the grocery store. Like, it's just random stuff that happens, man. It's cool.
Yeah, it's the most random of little experiences that you realize get real impactful, like you're saying. You can't even plan for it.
Yeah, totally. What were we talking about, Case?
Well, I actually had another question. It's for both James and you. Going back to that, from the onlooker looking at the car, not knowing what you're overcoming to do that, does it put a chip on your shoulder, or does it make it like, I don't care, I'm out here doing this, period, the best I can?
Dude, actually, now that you mention it, maybe that's part of the catalyst of the Dirt Life show. Maybe it's because I did want to share that stuff that I never thought people got to see, right? Because the Dirt Life show, the basis of it is you think you know somebody at the track, but you really don't. Like, right. You think you know them on Instagram, but you don't.
Sure.
And so if you can talk to them and you can hear their story, it's way different. So maybe maybe that's true. Maybe there is some truth to what you said. Like, I've sat in the grandstands watching James race, and the announcers do a fantastic job of telling his story.
Awesome.
But I don't think that it really gets to James's. He's such an awesome dude. I don't think you can do that from the announcer's tower, right? Like, you have to go and talk to him. You have to see him in the pits. You really have to get to know him like we are right now.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think maybe there is a little bit more to it, and I think that it should be shown to all the world.
Right. And is it enjoyable when those experiences happen?
Depends on if you have to get to the starting line quickly or not.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Especially with somebody like James or me, who it takes 20 minutes longer than everybody else to jump in the car.
It's always last minute.
Yeah.
Always last minute.
100%. Oh, you mean you're part of the Merrill's program? Is that what you're talking about? Jason told me that last night, too, so I'm allowed to say that this time. But yeah, so you can expand on that, James. Like, what do you think people think when they're looking down at the cars? They probably think everything is just you're a normal race car driver, huh?
Yeah, so I'm kind of split on that. What I like about it is the thing I love about racing, especially of course in the way that like I'm able to do is, I mean, George, you remember it is how it is like when you're in your chair. Like everything you do is different than how other people do it. Like you don't even walk through a sidewalk the same. You're not getting in and out of your car the same. So what I love about it is that with the race car, where it's not really as noticeable, like I'll chat with like my hits of like, hey, how did you go through turn 2 when there was that wet section? Did you like to go high? Did you like to go low? And you can have the same conversation and you're just the same as everybody else.
Yep.
And what does feel really good is when people do start to notice that there's something a little extra that we have going on. And then they can start to dig deeper and deeper and to kind of understand more of the story, the car, the engineering, the backstory. And then once they can appreciate that, then it makes it really cool.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both, I'd say, but it feels really good when people notice and care to dig into it.
Yeah, and it's still few and far between. Like, I mean, like you always want the top drivers, right, or the top riders and all this stuff. Like everybody likes a winner. But when you start seeing these stories and these things unfold, like it really just puts a whole nother value into what we're doing. Like off-road is so small, but when you think about how much effort it takes for a person like James to run his program, or even the top guys, like there's so much meaning and so many things that happen for these guys to be able to get out there on the track. I mean, the amount of hours that Rob has put into getting Flyer 22 and what's that car called again up there? The Predator and Beefy and the Humvee and all of these things for these guys to race the Mint 400 and these different races and the adrenaline therapy that they do, the Polaris race, like all of this stuff, like it's so loaded with awesome stuff that happens and so many awesome people that make it happen. And again, you can't be a pussy when you come into Warfighter Made, but like I remember one time I came in here and Simon, who is a very similar injury to James.
Simon is he has an injury that basically causes one of his legs. It's he can't feel it and it goes into massive spasms.
Right.
So he can't walk with it.
Right. And I'm talking about like the function that he has in his daily life or whatever. And I remember coming in and the dude is like on the ground, his wheelchair's over here, and I'm like, oh, dude, like what happened? Okay. Like, are you all right? And then like I think to myself, like, no, he's got it. Like he's like better than most mechanics that are sitting on there on the ground because he knows exactly what he's doing. And he's down there, he's working on, he's doing all this stuff. And like when you see that amount and the backstories behind what James does, what happens at Warfighter, what happens at all these pits, at all these tracks, and like just like what James is talking about, when you see that stuff happen, that's the value in the racing because that's the connection that it has with the audience and the people around it. The guys that didn't race might want to race a Razor now, have a daughter, a cousin, an aunt that has these things that they can bring them out to the races next time. I mean, it's so meaningful to all these people.
To caveat, I got two stories to caveat off of that. Something that James said about, it's you want to feel like things are normal again, your new normal. Mm-hmm. And, for him to basically roll up in his wheelchair and ask somebody, hey, what line are you taking? Or somebody asking him mm-hmm. what line he's taking because he's super fast through a corner or something. Mm-hmm. It makes you feel normal again.
Yeah, totally.
Or we built a Jeep for Nick Kimmel, who's a triple amputee, combat wounded, 2 legs and an arm. Mm-hmm. And we put a lot of effort into this Jeep. He helped us out immensely, like physically doing work. And
dude, that dude is still full wood. Like
absolutely,
he's like he doesn't let off the gas.
Well, he comes in one day and he's smiling. And to know Nick smiles, but he doesn't smile. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, what's up? And he's just like, I was at a light and somebody wanted me to roll down my window, and I did. And they're like, I love your Jeep. It looks awesome. And that was it. Drove away. And he's like, for the first time, somebody was looking at something other than my injuries.
Yeah.
And it made me feel normal again.
That's
right?
so cool.
And my other thing that I was going to throw out, I totally forgot it already. So thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
Do you have any experiences like that, James, where like you'll get somebody around you that just makes you feel normal, like you don't even have anything to worry about?
I would say I'm pretty lucky with most of the people that I have around. I've got great people around me, so it's never like with a lot of my good friends and everything, it kind of just disappears very fast. I never don't really feel normal. I just probably feel like my life's a lot more inconvenient than somebody else's. But everyone does a pretty good job with me, actually, of helping me to feel normal and like there isn't an issue. And you always have that little bit of that awkwardness when you first meet someone. They just don't really know how to go about it. But then once that gets resolved, which usually gets resolved pretty quick, after you end up having a couple minutes of a conversation, then it feels really nice.
Yeah, and I can totally get that vibe from James though too. Is like I actually went and had tacos with him in Vegas like a month or two ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll meet you over there, no problem." Like meets me over there. He's already out of the car and stuff like that when I got there, and I didn't even think about it. Like, it's exactly like what he said. Like, the curb was really high and he didn't want to go all the way around, so we just lifted him on the curb. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't give a shit if I help him because I can. I'm stoked. And then I was thinking that he thought it might have been an inconvenience. But then we go sit down and we eat and we do all of this stuff, and it's, like, totally normal. And I remember leaving going, I'm a better person now. Because I just spent half an hour with this dude instead of some dude that's just talking about complaining about his life. It was so cool. Like, I left and I had a smile on my face the rest of the day.
I think that's what's so cool about racing, period. And whether you're 100% able-bodied or not, it's the struggles and the little things of the overcoming. Like, I bet I'm sure James would say it, but like when somebody came and found out all the stuff he's done in the engineering, you know, at some Lucas Oil race or whatever, I guarantee they walked away going, "Holy crap!" Not, "Oh, hey, random Yahoo number 9 won."
Yep.
Right. Like, that's what's so cool about racing. There's so many little stories that.
I remember the other thing. The first time I ever went to a Lucas Oil regional race, Steve Baccaro, Steve Wheels, was racing that Odyssey that he used to scream around in. And he was
fast.
He was near the back at this race, though.
Still fast.
But it was the only thing that I paid attention to. One, because I wanted an Odyssey when I was a kid, and I got one.
Nice.
Oh, can you clap? We got to do the clap.
I wanted an Odyssey.
Was it yellow or red?
The one I wanted?
Yeah.
Red.
Okay.
Oh, you were the red guy.
Because remember, way back when, before the Pilot was the old school Odyssey.
Yeah.
The yellow one?
Yeah.
Which was, that one was red.
I think they had red and yellow.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, this is legit. Not a Pilot.
Okay.
Not a Pilot.
Yeah, different
Odyssey,
story.
Right?
Nice.
But because it was different. Right?
Yeah.
That Odyssey in a sea of razors was different, sounded different, looked different, and the dude was ripping.
Yeah.
Right. And so after that race, I went to the pits and I found him, and I'm like, this dude is a quad incomplete also.
Yep.
And he's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I really enjoyed about.
I did the same exact thing when I saw him. Exactly the same thing. I left the grandstands right when he was done, and I walked over and talked to him.
Yep.
That's so cool, man. You probably get that happen to you a lot too, James, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. And what gets really cool is especially when you have people, family members that are either injured in a chair or something like that, and are more curious to gotta show my brother on things like that. That's what gets really fun at the race too.
Yeah, totally. I remember having a little hospitality area, and so many people would come over and talk and just have a good time, man. Like, it's such a good vibe. Yeah, Vicky, we actually already had some other people saying that we need Soundboard Jeff here tonight. Yeah, let him know he's hired, but his rate's going to have to be pretty low because the dirt life's not rich.
So Simon just sent me a text. He's like, I didn't even know George knew my name, right? He's like, this is a great episode.
Really?
Simon, I'm going to tell you right now.
Dude, I know.
If you ever or anyone in your family ever sends me a video of you fingering your belly button one more time, I'm going to come over there and you're not going to like what I'm doing. Don't ever send me that crap again.
Oh,
Disturbing. Disturbing.
Simon, thanks for taking this episode to a whole new level, bro.
Oh.
Warfighter Made just went Warfighter Made.
Yeah. Dude, watch out.
Oh, we got characters around here.
Cody Bradbury, what's up? We got a couple people joining us too, man. I really do appreciate everybody joining this show. It really means a lot to me. It makes me feel good that you guys are actually commenting in and stuff. Like, there's so many cool comments and different things. I wish we could see it better, but our old eyes. And it's so cool to just talk about this kind of stuff, James. We could probably talk about it forever. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience that talks about like your perspective or your perception in how it's changed, how you view the world and things around you?
Through my injury, or maybe even things more just lately that I've started to pay more attention to.
I think, like Casey said, all of it's a waterfall. It all kind of compiles together, right? Like, so your injury was a clear reset, right? Like, it makes you think different. But like, as you grow and as things come up, I feel like that's what Casey's been kind of talking about most of the night, is that things just happen. They evolve and you grow and you've learned stuff. And now your perception is still different than when you were injured, but it was changed when you got injured. So, I mean, it's got to be pretty open that you can see things clearer than you did before you got hurt.
Yeah, I would say one thing that's kind of stuck out to me quite a bit lately, and it applies a lot with racing too. I'm sure anybody that's running a race program, or whether they're on a dirt bike or anything, can really relate to this, is I feel like at first when you get started, whether it's within like your working or your race or just anything, it's like you're trying to do as much as you possibly can all the time. But then you realize you only have so many hours left in the day. So what I'm doing right now is, one, you need to kind of take a little time to wind back and relax, but not in like a lazy way. Sometimes you do need to recharge your batteries a little bit, and just readjusting instead of trying to say, do every race that I possibly can. Try to figure out like what are the most important races to do that I could actually have my car prepped very well to go do. And then also just with my injury too, versus like trying not to make my day too long, to kind of decide, okay, what are the couple really important things I want to do today, and be really good at those. And that's been something I've been trying to figure out the last couple of months. So if you guys have any secrets on how to prioritize life like that and with racing, let me know. That's something that I've kind of changed my perspective on a little bit lately.
We were actually talking about this yesterday at the RC car races with one of our buddies, Adam Drake. And one thing that I suggested, and this does not work for everybody, but one thing that I suggested to him was, I've been working a lot over the last couple of years on the dirt life, and I've really not taken very much time for myself. You know, I try to get out there on the bicycle every now and then and stuff, but what I realized over the last probably 2 months, and I'm 2 years into this, so like it took me 2 years to kick myself in the ass for it, but is that I wasn't getting as much done when I was uber focused on it, because I would miss a lot of stuff and I would pass over stuff. Something gets more important than the other thing, and then there's just this big, like, I don't know, it gets messier. And then I was like, I got to go ride my bicycle. I went and rode my bicycle, and I started doing it like at least once a week, and I try to do it during the day, like when everybody else is working, so I don't get bothered and I can shut everything down. And once I did that, I noticed that my productivity and the things that I got done and focused on increased exponentially, probably by like 30% or so. And so I was able to get a lot more done in a less amount of time and still keep myself sane. And I know Casey does this all the time. I don't know. You do some stuff too, Rob, right?
I'm not a very good person to answer that question. I got issues all the time.
But yeah, and it works different for everybody. Like you don't have to go put on Mandex and go cycling, but it works different for everybody, right? I mean, maybe it's just going to get lunch or something, right? But like that was a huge help for me, and I didn't even know it was happening until I did it.
Yeah, it's really managing your mental health, and I think a lot of us, whether you have an injury or not, I think we don't take time for that, because everything is like this nowadays. Instant gratification. Everybody needs everything now.
Chomp, yeah.
We're in this 2020 crap show that's still going on, so like no one takes time. I don't think it's probably the last thing on our menu.
Yeah, I would always lean towards like if you got a race coming up and you're like genuinely dreading going, like, oh, there's so much to do, blah blah blah. That's probably your body telling you that you're smoked,
Yeah.
and
Bingo.
it's kind of a you're taking it for granted type thing. Maybe take a couple races off, or
Yep.
go do something else you enjoy, so you kind of hit that reset button. And all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I've missed 2 races. I can't wait to get back to it type thing.
Yeah.
If you're dreading something that you enjoy, that's never really
That actually is a good
good
transition into what Casey was talking about then too, because like that's what everything gets so convoluted in, especially race programs or getting sponsored and doing all these things, because social media is so time consuming. Getting your race program up is so time consuming. Like I always tell everybody, they're like, how can I get to racing? And I'm like, just don't do it unless you can physically do it and afford it yourself.
Right.
Because once it becomes a job or whatever, like what Rob's talking about, and it engulfs you, everything goes out the window, dude. It's not good.
And there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts from, hey, I want to start
Nothing.
racing to I'm a full-blown factory racer tomorrow. There's no shortcut.
And everybody thinks that social media is the answer, that you get sponsors and all of these different things, but it's not. There's no clear-cut answer. There's nothing, right? Like, it just doesn't happen like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you just have to go do it and enjoy it. Like, that's the only way to do it.
my favorite part when you stand up is we look at your crotch for like
Yeah, it's nice.
however long you stand there.
There we go. Let me get out of the way. I don't even know how to get this thing working again. Instagram took a dump on us. Let me get it going again. It's been taking a dump on us. No. Try again later. Tell us no. I don't want to do it. So, Casey, what's the next stuff that we got on here?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I've kind of beat that one up already as far as the time it puts into, or that you put into it, or how about this? How about we speak to making the right decision for your race program? Because I think a lot of people, when they first start, they think I need to be sponsored, like you kind of just said it, but it's more about you got to put the time in, and then running your race program or whatever it is you do as somewhat of a business. Like you wouldn't take a shortcut on the wrong part just to be sponsored.
Dude,
right?
Instagram is really annoying right now. I don't know if it keep talking.
Yeah, just to that point, I think I can relate it to the RC world, whether that means anything or not, but I think it applies. Is a lot of times we see people want to have that status instead of actually
Earning it,
right, without trying to be too much of a jerk about it. But that's really what happens, and it seems to me that if you treated your race program or whatever it is as
It was working?
as a business, let's just throw a number out. Let's say you spend $50,000. Maybe $50,000 is your race budget for the year. Would you put a part or a tire or whatever it is that's not the best just so you could have the status? Well, that wouldn't make business sense, would it? So now you're at a race and you don't have the best thing that you could have bought, and you're technically you're washing out the rest of your investment. Like that doesn't make sense.
Rob's a massive proponent in this. Like he actually does. Actually, you know what? Can we go to a commercial break first and then finish this up? Because I want to talk how you deal with those sponsorship things. All right. So YouTube and Facebook, we're going to commercial break.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in Desert and Score. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
The new Code Shooter from Evolution Powersports puts the power of ECU tuning right in the palm of your hand. Available for Can-Am and Polaris, the industry's most innovative app-based ECU tuning device lets you flash your vehicle's ECU, read and reset diagnostic codes, and monitor critical live engine data, all from your smartphone. Additional Code Shooter features for Can-Am include optional dash flash, real-time monitoring of air-fuel ratio and belt temperature, and adjustable launch control for the ultimate advantage off the line. Code Shooter unleashes the full potential of your vehicle, putting you in complete control wherever Wi-Fi access or 4G cell service is available. No more waiting. No more sending in your ECU. Download, connect, flash, ride. The power of ECU tuning in the palm of your hands at evopowersports.com.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period. Finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, and then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
It's like a first aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
And now back to the Dirt Life Show.
All right, everybody, we're back, and we thank you for joining us all night, having fun here.
Dude, episode 119, can you believe it?
It's pretty insane, because I remember when we were like, hey, dude, it's like 19.
Yeah, we're stoked on that, right?
It's pretty nuts that that little awesome wallpapered room.
I know, we're just talking about fake it till you make it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
That studio was actually pretty cool, though. I still like that studio.
It was pretty awesome.
What were we talking about? Sponsorships? Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about what Rob was going to – well, I was going to give an example of what Rob was saying, too. So hopefully Instagram's working because it's the iPad and Instagram's being a little B right now. So
yeah, so I'm on Instagram Live. It is working, but for everybody that's watching us through Instagram, we can't see anything on the iPad.
It tells us Instagram is like I don't know. We've got a limit on how you do it, and it's going to try to like cut us down. So who knows? But what I was going to say is more along the lines of what you were saying, Case. Is you're like, don't take Instagram. People probably didn't hear it. You said don't take free stuff.
Yeah, I think it seems like everybody's this is the new school. It seems like as soon as you get into something, you have to be sponsored. But I guess the counter to that is you don't have to be sponsored. It would be better to go do the best you can. Make sure you love doing it. That's why you're doing it.
Right.
And then building your treating it like you're like a budget, like a business. Like you wouldn't sell out for a subpar product just so you could have your name on the back of your shirt. If it actually affects your racing program. Like that's kind of where I'm getting with that.
Yeah.
I'm just texting James. Thank you. But yeah, so what Rob does is he does it a little bit different. So this is a good thing for everybody to be able to understand. And this is kind of how I operate in my program too, is if you're going to race and you're going to like have your own program, it needs to be self-sufficient no matter what it is, right? Like if you ask Rob, he has Warfighter. They operate on donations. They get as many sponsorships and as much help as they possibly can. But if all of that went away, he would minimize what he's doing. He would have fun with it, and he would still help as many people as he possibly could. So the whole business regimen is still the same,
right?
No matter what it is. But what he does, though, still is if he wants to get a sponsor, he goes, you know what? I love your product. Let me buy it. Let me test it out. We'll see what happens. And then if we like it and you like me and you see the stuff that we do with it, there's a possibility that we can work together.
Right. And because I would imagine, just to ad lib here, you're not opening the door to like every Tom, Dick, and Harry to like, because you're putting your name on it and your people's name on it. What
this started with was PRP seats, and the owner at the time, Aaron Wedeking, we were talking one day, and he's like, Rob, I get inundated with people that have the next greatest thing every single day, and all they want is free stuff and, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's just easier to say no than it is to look at each and every deck, proposal, read every email, so on and so forth. It's just easier to say no.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, what if we came in and offered to buy everything, and if we then do what we said we were going to do, then you can donate that money back to Warfighter Mate. And he's like, man, even if you just offered to buy it at wholesale or something like that, like dealer cost, that would be ideal, right? And that's what started a whole new program for Warfighter Made, where you get to approach somebody and say, hey, like your product, we're going to do X, Y, and Z with this. We don't want anything for free. Sell it to us at your wholesale price. And at the end of the year, when at the end of us accomplishing everything that we said we were going to do with your product, you can go ahead and donate that money back to us because we did what you said. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
If we're not able to accomplish what we set out to do, you didn't lose anything.
Yeah, we still paid our way.
And we're still going to promote what you did for us and so on and so forth.
I mean, just think about it like if you're at the gas station and somebody comes up and asks you for money, you don't want to give it to them, right? But if somebody comes up and says, hey, do you need help doing something? Like, I see you drive a van. Would you like me to go unload it with you at the next location or drop off that you have? Then that is actually creating some value, right?
Right.
If I do that for you, will you get me a can of Coke?
Right.
will you give me $5 so I can go get a sandwich?
Right.
Like, that's a transaction that is completely okay in most people's mind, right? I mean, like, considering the dude's not a crazy person, but like,
Sure.
like that's an easy way to think about it. But most of the people that like what you brought up, taking free stuff, like most of these people just think I got to get sponsored. I'm going to take whatever it is, or I deserve this. No, nobody deserves to be sponsored.
Well,
Nobody.
what is the perceived value?
There's nothing.
There's that word again.
There's nothing.
But back in Rob's instance, that is value. Like, you've built value with that relationship. Like, hey, I'm not looking for anything for free. This is what we're going to do. If it doesn't work, high five. Nobody's out. We're moving down the road.
100%. And that's the perception that people need to understand is, like, there isn't any value in off-road racing. There's value if you create that value inside off-road racing, if you have value in your race program, but you have to create that first before anything else happens.
I have a story, exactly what you were just talking about at the gas station. I'm at an Arco station in Marietta, and an older man, like at least in his 70s, walks up to me and he's like, "Excuse me, can I wash your windows?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he's just like, "My wife and I are on a fixed income. The catalytic converter is going out in my car, and I just need to make some more money."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, tell me a little bit about your history." And he was like, "Well, I'm a Vietnam veteran in the Navy. I never saw combat. I was just offshore, blah, blah, blah." But I was like, "Say no more." Guy's name was Don. I was like, "Don, here's my business card. We're going to go ahead and buy you a catalytic converter." And then Adam Fitza cut it out and welded it up right here. Everything was free. And it was just like, because you were trying to do something and we, saw the deal. It's just like, man, we're going to help you.
Yeah, he created value. But
cool is that?
The best part about that relationship is, and that story that Rob's saying is, now that transaction happened, and I don't mean transaction like I'm being unsensitive, but that's a human interaction that happened.
Sure.
That is going to pay itself forward naturally. And that's exactly what you're looking for in marketing, right? You want a natural connection with every single customer or whoever you have, right? And that dude is going to go and talk about Warfighter Made to all of his buddies.
Absolutely. But the cool thing about it is, because it happened organically, that's a buzzword nowadays, is that you did that right from the heart, because this is what this place stands for. So it will breed this next bit of, who knows? Like you said, he's going to tell 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, and the next thing you know, who knows?
But that same mindset is what can work in a race program, right? So if you feel like that you have something to offer, go and tell those people that same thing. You don't have to send a resume, a big deck, and all of these things to tell those people. You can go and tell them, like, you go to Mint 400, you go to Tech and Contingency, you see one of the people you want to get sponsored by, you relay that type of information, and you say these things like what Rob's saying. You give to them before they give to you. Those things are the perspective that you need to have to be able to have a long, successful relationship with anything you do. It doesn't matter if it's off-road racing like we're talking about. It could be, I don't know, wiffle ball, whatever it is.
Sure.
But that same perspective in life goes very, very far.
Well, and then again, with as soon as you've put yourself out there and you've proven that you're in whatever it is you're trying to do and your heart's in it, someone who's big in the industry is going to see that it's not fake, because it's so easy to just start it tomorrow. Hey, we're going to go off-road racing. Well, is that just the next, flag in the wind? Are you just sailing around, or is that really what you want to do? So my point is, these big people in the industry are going to see someone helping people out, and they're going to naturally want to, rather than look through a stack of, hey, give me free stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Right? So I want to talk about this. Let me turn my phone volume down so I can see what Chuck said. So Chuck Foreman from Pro Eagle Jacks just commented in, and I actually had a conversation with Chuck about this the other day. He said, yes, if you can't race on your own without a sponsorship, don't race. Yeah, and that's just it, right? Like,
and that's the harsh reality. It's not anybody beating anybody up. It's how it is.
We got 3 Pro Eagle Jacks floating around here because I went to Chuck and said, "Listen, I'm not asking for anything for free, but we want to run your product. Can you sell your product to us at a discount because of who we are and what we do?" And he's like, "Absolutely."
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he says here too. He says, but also don't go after a product that doesn't improve your race program.
There you go.
Like what you said.
Absolutely.
That's what Casey was saying. Absolutely.
It's huge. And again, I know it's on a little, it might seem like small potatoes, but like in the RC world, like that's a real thing, and people do it all the time. So translate that and move it to like this budget. Like I don't even know what
or
that's
a Pro 4 budget or a
exactly.
UTV budget.
You know,
yeah.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you'd run the right tire, right, or the right fuel cell, or et cetera, et cetera.
And one thing that I want to also state too is like the couple things that we've said. I feel like I might be negative when saying like, and when Chuck was saying like, don't race. That doesn't mean that we're being negative about it.
Right.
Like we want everybody to be racing. We
Sure.
are the dirt life. Like we love being
Right.
out in the dirt. We want everybody to go out there and do it. Rob would love to have 30 more vehicles here to support
Right.
that many more veterans, right?
Sure.
But it's limited to what you can handle and in the way that you can put it out there, right? So.
Right. Well, adjust your focus, because you sat in that Pro Light, and I'm sure you were like, hey, where can we sign up? But you were like, I can't do that right now, but what I can do is that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to focus on that.
Yeah, 100%. That's why UTVs are growing so big, right?
Sure.
Is because people can like go finance it and actually do it.
Jason Merrill just came over and said, free can cost you money.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
100%.
Absolutely.
And so, like,
100.
to tie it all back together, like, I want everybody to be at the races, but I think you should be at the races for the right reasons.
Right.
Everybody at the races wants to win. Everybody. The last place guy wants to win probably just as bad as the first place guy, right?
Right.
There are some little things that details, but, like, nobody is always the winner.
Right.
Like, there's only one winner, right? And so you have to gauge yourself on where you're at and make sure that you're doing it for you. Make sure that you're doing it for yourself. And this is where it's so meaningful for me to be able to have these conversations on the Dirt Life show, is because every single time I had to pivot, I've lived 4 different lives already in my short time here on Earth. 4 different lives, had to pivot completely. Like, even now, the Dirt Life exists because I couldn't see the computer to do computer program anymore. I still can't to this day. Since I crashed April 7th, 2019, the only website I've built is to help my sister, and it took me forever. I still can't make money doing that, so I had to pivot, right? But each individual one of those pivots made me think and appreciate the things that I was doing, and knowing that I was doing them for a different reason than going out to get sponsors. I'm doing it to make me happy. I'm doing it to learn more things. Like, you can't just go out to the racetrack thinking, I need sponsors and I'll win like that guy.
Right.
You have to do it for the reason that's going to make you happy.
Right. Yeah, agreed. It kind of reminds me of when you were first going down the path of, doing your 747 view, your 30,000 foot view. I guess that ages me, huh? There's not 747s anymore, is there? 737s, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, you were given the 30,000 foot view, and what I wanted to say is, if you don't mind, can you go back to that point where, because I think more people would be interested in this. You're at a point now where you realize in this bed or in the ambulance or whatever, when you first broke your back, like everything changes today. Tomorrow is a total different everything. So how do you get to the point where you're like, hey, I think I want to be a computer guy?
That's actually kind of tough to answer, because it's almost a forced decision, right? Like, what do I do next? And then you have limitations and you got to do it. So I was sitting in the bed. Actually, this is probably a good whole little story to bring up, is I broke my back at Glen Helen Raceway, racing the pro class at a national, but I was in practice. So they take me to the hospital. And when I get to the hospital, that's the first time on paper I died. They called my family and they're like, we don't know if he's going to make it. He's got so many broken bones, think he's bleeding internally, like all this stuff. And so once the priest walked up to me, that was a swift kick in the ass and saying, you need to change your perspective, because this might be the last time you ever talk to your parents. So right when he said that, I talked to my parents and I said, you know what? I love you guys. I'll see you when you get here, because that's what gave me the willpower to, in my mind, be put to sleep but awake afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. And then when I did that, and I did wake up, and the doctor walked into the hospital room, and the first thing that he said was, George, you're never going to be able to walk again. And I looked at him, I gave him the middle finger, and I said, fuck you. He turned around, walked out, and I've never seen the doctor again in my life. That was the last time I ever saw him. And that changed my mind again, because it also said to me, it doesn't matter what he says to you. Even if that is the reality, it's not your reality. it's not what you think is going to happen for the rest of your life. So whatever you think is going to happen is what will drive you to make that happen. And then so that made me think, okay, now I can pivot, because that's the key word or whatever, right? Like,
That's the fourth P, isn't it?
it really, yeah, like all these P words. But now I can pivot to do something different. And so I guess I was kind of forced to do this. Like I'm saying, like my family come in and what do you want to do? My first thing was I want to own a bicycle store. I want to have mountain bikes and all this stuff because that's what I'm into, right? Like maybe I can't ride dirt bikes, but it's only gonna be 6 months. Like we're good. Like
Right. Like every other time.
You're naive. You don't really know, right?
Sure.
It's like, and then so they're like, no, like don't be an idiot. Like you got to figure something out. If you're going to be in a wheelchair for a certain amount of time, that's cool. You can have this vision of getting out of the wheelchair. We will support every single thing that you want to do. But for the meantime, you're going to be sitting down. Computers are kind of cool. Go do that. And I was like, no, computers are stupid. I don't even know how to type on Microsoft Word. Like, I can't do that, right? Like,
Figured it out.
yeah. And then so they're like, all right, well, don't go to do computers. Just go and see what the university thinks you're good at. And so I went down there and I took all these college tests, and they were like, sorry to tell you, George, you're mechanical, you're logical. You would fit very well into the computer science program. Like, you should probably try this.
I don't want to be that guy.
And then so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. Like, maybe it'll offer me something. But I hated school. So I got all my degree and everything done in 2.5 years. Just went for 12 hours a day, every day, weekends, all that stuff. Just knocked it out.
Get her done.
So I could get over there, like I said, to California and have some fun and doing all that work. But those things, like to answer your question, pivoting and making those decisions and understanding and being able to move through that decision with help from people and understanding what the future has for you as much as you possibly can, even though I was naive, is what guided that for me. Mm-hmm. That one single learning experience made it that much easier the next 3 times that I had to pivot.
Right.
So it's still growing and turning, like what you always say.
Yeah, sure. And I guess kind of what I was laying the ground rule or the ground work there is because I know you kind of glossed over, but this leg brace thing is like huge, and I don't know if everybody knows about it. Like, it's pretty inspiring to me that through all this, there's this piece of, because I know how liberating it was for you to have that doctor say, hey, I've got a product that we could try, and it'll help you get rid of these arm braces or crutches to where you can, right? And the next thing you know, now you're riding again.
Well, it actually goes a little bit deeper than that. So still to date, I use ankle braces to walk around. That's why everybody's probably seen me walk around, and whoever hasn't, like, please look at some of the videos on my personal Instagram page and stuff. But I walk like a penguin now. Like, I don't walk that good. The process was going to forearm crutches and doing all these crazy things. There's a lot of details behind it, but I've never been a proponent to sit around and let other people tell me what to do or guide me in the direction.
Obviously.
Yeah. And that, I don't mean that as something that I'm like patting myself on the back for. I mean, this day and age, and I'm not going to get into the whole medical problem, right? But this day and age, you have to be your own doctor. You have to go forward the way that you want to and see things differently than what you're told sitting in the doctor's office.
Right.
So every time I got an answer, I always said, no, that's not the answer I'm looking for. I'm looking for something else. What I want to do is different than what you're telling me that I can do. If you're telling me that I have to brush my teeth with my right hand, I'm probably going to do it with my left hand. But it was a good milestone and a structure to be able to understand this. And they told me that I wouldn't walk again, that I would be stuck in the wheelchair. And I said, no, that's not the way it's going to work. Is there something else that I can do? Not one of the doctors ever told me I could have leg braces. I went and figured it out myself that I could have leg braces. I saw somebody walking around with something similar to this ankle braces that I use now. And I said, I can use that. And then my grandpa, he even built me this little rickety machine that was like a bicycle that moved my feet up and down, like, because I couldn't do it, and it would move my feet, and I would pedal it with my hands, and it would move my feet. And like all of these different things made me think that what you're told is not what's really going to happen. It's what you tell yourself. And then so with the leg brace stuff, I figured out how to get them done for me and structured for me through different ways of looking. And then finally, when I figured it out, I started being able to kind of walk, and I used those forearm crutches.
Yep.
And like walked around, and I did it for, I don't know, probably another 5 years or so, I don't know, whatever it was. It was a long time. And during that whole time, like I was going to school, like I was doing all this stuff. So every single thing was a pain in the ass because you can't carry anything. You can't set it on your lap. Like, I give Tanner Godfrey so much props because like the way that he goes, he doesn't even use leg braces. He just uses canes. Like you can't carry anything. That's so sucky. Like it's so hard to live life without carrying anything. And like even in a wheelchair, you can set stuff on your lap and like you can move around. He doesn't do any of that. So it's like all of those things in the way that he lives his life and all these other people is really mind blowing to me. So when I saw the opportunity and I saw other people walking around with these leg braces, even like an older lady, I knew that she had a heart attack. She couldn't move her left leg very well or her left ankle, so her foot would just fall to the ground. She had a leg brace on like this, but you could tell it wasn't fit right. And I knew that because of the experience that I had been through. And these little things have happened to me probably, I don't know, 500 times over the past 20 years, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at it and I was like, these people have to go through similar situations like me. And I'll put it in a little bit different perspective about the way that you get your leg braces. The medical industry sucks. And if you want a pair of leg braces, let's just say you break your back and you want to get to rehab, you know what I mean? Like you can get fixed up and you want to get to rehab and start going again. Well, if you break your back and you need to get leg braces or these ankle braces, it takes usually 6 months to get approved by insurance, and then another 6 months to get them approved. And that's just an average. You can get it done quicker and it takes longer. But
and you got to find the right people that'll do it for you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And if you guys need any help, just come to me. I'll help out as much as I can. But that's a massive deterrent. You're sitting in a bed and then you have to wait a year to go to rehab? No.
Right.
No, that's not a good option.
Right.
So I had started developing. It's a 5-year process, and we're starting to come to fruition now. But a new way of producing leg braces, and I'm not going to give you guys all the secrets because I want my business to succeed. But it's a new way of doing leg braces. It's going to be at a substantially less cost. And you don't have to get them made. You can walk in just like you would to go to the Foot Locker and buy a pair of shoes. So you go into the doctor's office, you get the pair of leg braces, and you're out there rehabbing right away. Like, so it's mind-blowing to me that something like this hasn't happened with all of these other people that have the opportunity to make it happen.
Right.
So for me, it's going to be like helping people and giving back and offering them a better quality of life when they think that they can't have it.
Right. Well, that's why that's important to me, is because like you literally have walked this walk. And now instead of like, you know, cursing the whole process, it's like, hey, how do we make it better? Mm-hmm. And okay, yeah, at some point it's going to be business and whatever, but it's not about that. It's like, do you have any idea how many lives this is going to change? Because I know the difference. As soon as you were able to, I mean, you got on the freaking the 50.
Yeah.
But it's just these little things that like just turned into everything.
Yeah, once you see that thing happen, and it opens up a whole new world for you. And again, I want to go back and say, like what we said at the beginning of the episode, like this is not an end-all, fix-all for everybody. We know other people are going through really bad stuff and worse than what we're talking about. Yep. But if this is something that I can shed some light on and help out with people, this is what I'll do.
For sure.
So we got a lot of comments. Jacob Peter, 41, you do it for the love when we were talking about racing and stuff. We also have Cali Boy Aztec again, said tonight's like going to church for racers. Ocho 89, such a badass bro. I hope you know how many people look up to you.
I appreciate that. Thanks, bud.
So
yeah, it's kind of crazy for me to think about all this stuff. I mean, like I don't necessarily low battery. I can plug it in, but I didn't even race for myself when I was racing side by side. It's like I said about the podium stuff, going up to the podium and talking, like I raced because I wanted to prove something. And my proof was not necessarily winning the race. It was showing people, just like James is doing, that you can do it even if you were told that you can't. Right. And when I was able to battle with people like one of our arch nemesis on dirt bikes, Dustin Nelson, I remember him coming up to me after one race and he goes, dude, you blew by me in this one corner or past me or whatever it was. And like, he was pissed. And I was like, yes, that means more to me than winning the race, because now he's scared of my handicap ass beating him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was so stoked on that. I'm going to let you guys talk. I'm going to plug in the iPad.
Hopefully we get another crotch shot.
Did you?
Oh no, he didn't stand in front of the cameras.
Did we see Caden? I see Caden chiming in here.
Yeah, Caden came over and said, let's see, thank you, George and James, for telling us your story. You guys always keeping me inspired.
Awesome.
You know, and then Trip Pullen came out and said, Cash LeCroy Racing killing it in the RC world.
Yes, let's see. Chuck. Yes, if you can't. Oh, yeah, here we go. If you can't race without a sponsorship, don't race. We kind of touched on that. But, yeah, I totally agree. But that also means don't go after a product unless it. Oh, yeah, we said
George
that.
got
Yeah,
that one,
100% agree. Yep. Caden says you made his mom cry for the 10th time tonight, George.
Sorry, Sarah. I didn't mean to. But hey, that's the emotional connection that we're talking about. And I'm not talking about crying. I'm talking about just making a difference in people's worlds and people's lives.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, there's so many people that call me and even say that, like, their son's depressed or their little kid or whatever. And I do as much as I can to be able to offer advice. But usually it's not the advice that I give them. It's a story that I've been through something that really connects or resonates with them, right? Like, and it's not even a winning story. Like, I don't tell a kid, I went out and won this race and he changes his mind.
Right.
I tell him, hey, you know what? I broke that same ankle too. It took me a while to get like back on the dirt bike, but I did.
Right.
And I had fun when I got back. I got to play with my friends again.
Right. Yeah, I think too. I mean, we've said it again. It's kind of cliche, but like it's so true. The back to the new normal. Like, there's also this point that you have to take the deep dive into your psyche and be honest with yourself and say, this is what it is, but what is the new normal? So like, that's the baseline. Decide what that is, and then decide what do we do for the next step, because we want to better it.
Do you think that's hard for people though? Well, actually, Rob,
that's hard.
Do it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because especially if you're dealing with an invisible injury, mental stuff.
Yep.
Before we continue, IG is down. It's not even on.
Oh, okay.
If you're dealing with the invisible injuries, like Casey said at one point, it's almost it's really hard to deal with, because you're having a quote unquote episode, and people are looking at you like, the hell's wrong? There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Look at this guy over here who's missing both his legs. He's fine. What's wrong
Man
with
up.
you? Right.
Yeah, right.
And it gets Warfighter Made was founded by three guys. Butch Lynch, who passed away last year from just being old, and Brian Meyer, who's a combat wounded triple amputee, and myself. And Brian being a triple amputee, and just being a really nice, approachable guy, people would literally push me out of the way to go up and shake his hand. And I'm dealing with some stuff at that moment, and it was making me really, really sour on our relationship, our friendship. It was really, it was tough. And one day Brian picked up on it. He's like, "Bro, what's wrong?" I was like, "Man,
Were you glad he asked, or did you?
Yeah, I was glad,
Okay.
because I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of what I
vets don't say shit
Right,
ever,
right.
which is why the suicide rate's so high.
Right.
Because we don't reach out, we don't talk to people,
Sure.
and so on and so forth. Which is another reason why we take all of our pictures smiling to
Yeah.
look like we're
No, I
approachable,
love it.
because
That's
we want to
great.
be a part. We want to help you guys.
Yep.
And so Brian was just like, "What's up?" I was like, "Man, here I am doing X, Y, and Z, and I've done all this stuff, and whatever, and people are freaking shucking me to the side like I don't matter,
Right. Because you looked normal.
because I look normal."
Yep.
And then Brian was just like, "I get it." And so from here on out, every time somebody would come up, Brian would be like, "Oh, have you met Rob? Rob's a recon Marine and a sniper and a Silver Star recipient and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, I had no idea, right?
Yeah.
And then so then I could breathe a little easier because, it's not like I'm going to tell people my resume.
Right.
But I also don't expect to get pushed out of the way type
Sure.
thing. It was
Totally.
tough. But just having that communication, really helped.
That's crazy that you talk like that, Rob, because like as coming from my standpoint, it's a lot different than that because of the life that you lived is different than mine. But even going to the airport, most of the time I'll wear shorts.
Right.
Just so I don't get tripped.
Yeah.
So people look.
'Cause
There's
they
a
get you
visual
right.
cue, right?
Right.
Like
A lot of double leg amputees will wear a suit with the legs cut off because they want people like, hey, stay out of my way.
Right. And it's
Yeah,
not
no.
about, because
No.
to your point, it's not, I don't want to talk about it, but it's like,
Yeah.
hey, this is how we navigate better.
Don't trip me.
Yeah,
Don't-
exactly.
Don't get in my way.
Exactly.
Don't cut me off type thing.
Right. And so it's not about me, but let me just throw this in there because I can somewhat relate. Definitely not because it's combat related or any of that, but a TBI is not to be.
no.
Messed with.
And the TBI is a traumatic brain injury.
And it's crazy because, again, to your point, like you don't even want to go down that route. Like, no, I'm fine, I'm normal, but like you're not, and like it has to fix, and sometimes it can't fix. So that becomes the new. So what I can do to relate that with you is I know we talked about that a lot with dude, my brain is different.
Yeah.
Like how do I navigate with like it's actually injured,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And so for me it was just surgery to remove stuff and fix it, but it's still adjusted, so it's technically the same kind of thing. And it's crazy what how that fools you and tricks you and changes everything. And the only reason I say it is because, again, just keep that in mind when you see somebody
Anybody.
walking down the road and they might not say, hey, good morning, or you say good morning, they don't say anything. We don't really know what technically could be going on in there.
Yeah, nothing.
So, right. So, again, just keep that in mind. Everybody's fighting their own fights, and it's awesome that you can talk about it.
And never say, your TBI is different than my TBI. A TBI is a TBI.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress is post-traumatic stress. I don't care if you got it in combat, if you suffered a sexual assault, if you were in a car accident. Post-traumatic stress is how your brain reacts to something stressful.
Right.
And if you immediately discount it as, well, mine's not as bad as yours type deal, it's you're not doing yourself any favors.
Right.
And it's like with our TBIs, our traumatic brain injuries, it's if you beat your head against the wall, like, I used to be able to do it like this, why can't I do it like this, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, you're not doing yourself any favors.
We were talking about that yesterday.
100%. Like,
You
how come-
need to adapt to
Right.
what your brain is functioning like now. And if you used to remember everything, now you can't remember nothing. That's what this
Yeah,
is for.
right.
Yeah,
Write
definitely.
it down, make a note.
Yep.
I've got a dozen reminders set in my phone, with my little watch going off
Yep.
every 30 minutes because I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do this.
Right.
Because that's not how my brain.
Well, and
I'm
being
also getting old.
I want to
Sure,
get back
right,
off.
same.
I want to
Yeah,
get
go
back
ahead.
to this,
Sorry.
but I want to say something real quick. As I heard a quote the other day when I was listening to an audiobook that said, every single person on the planet now has more information than the president of the United States had 15 years ago in
Right.
the middle of their hand,
Totally.
in their pocket. So these are tools too, like to what Rob's saying, like anything that can happen, like in if you can forget about something, that's insanely good for a racer, right? You can forget
Yeah.
about what you fucked up in the last
Short-term
corner.
memory, yeah,
Short-term
yeah.
memory, you can
Right.
just keep going. So I think there's
Yeah.
a little bit good for us here,
Sure,
sitting
sure.
here, because we can use that as our crutch.
But
But
does that really happen?
no,
Or do you sit on the track like, God, why
Yeah.
did I blow that corner?
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I can make it up in the next one. Nope.
But it's exactly what we've been talking about this whole episode, man. Is like, you don't have to be exactly what everybody tells you to be or what you thought you were in your head. You can just change it a little bit and fix those things with different options.
Yeah, and again, this is what I was getting to with that, is that it starts with you being honest with yourself.
Yep.
I'm being honest with myself. When I'm tired, sometimes I get stuck on 4+4. Why? I don't know. Like, just be honest about it. Hey, I'm tired.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess that's kind of.
I'm going through this thing right now where I'm like, I've burnt through a couple of friendships because my attitude has gotten I mean, our executive director pulled me in one day and was just like, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, what do you mean what's wrong with me?
Quit being a sourpuss or something?
I'm being a sourpuss.
Really?
Halima looked at me and she's like, "You've been a negative Nancy for like the last couple months."
Really?
And I'm like, "Yeah." And
Well, good on her for saying something.
absolutely. Well,
I think we need to bring you some strawberry rendezvous, buddy.
I forgot about
You have no idea. But no, and it really helped me to, because I'm a self-evaluator, right? And if when somebody calls me out on something that I don't think I'm doing wrong, right? And then the wife says it to me, and so obviously I need to change something,
Right.
right? I can continue to beat my head against the wall, or I can look back, see what's going on, and kind of reevaluate and fix the situation.
Yeah.
Which is now what I'm trying to do.
That's cool.
You know, going back to therapy and everything.
Surrounding yourself with
That's-
the people that you need to be surrounded
That's such
by.
a good thing that Rob's just talking about, though, because that's what we've been talking about this whole episode is just helping yourself, like, and having a different perspective. Unfortunately, Halima and a couple other people had to bring that perspective to light, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, if you don't know if it's normal to you at the time, it's normal.
Yeah.
But if those that care about you are seeing a difference, and because they care about you, they call you out on it, then there's some self-reflection there. What's going on?
Yep.
Why? And if multiple people are saying it, it's true. You know, got to do something about it.
Instead of, like, I don't want to be this, I have a Dr. Phil episode, but that's a good point to bring up. Like, anybody that's watching or going to listen to this show later, do that for your friends. Like, totally help them out. Do it for us. Like, if you see us or whoever it is, even just help other people. Like, that's just such a good thing to do. And I want to say thank you very much to everybody that's watching. Like, you guys are our lifeblood, man. So thank you for continuing watching, even though Instagram's being a jerk.
Just be genuine when you say it, because I've got the tendency to be a sarcastic, like I'm trying to be funny, but I'm also a very sarcastic individual. And like I said, a couple of friendships I've burned through because I said something in earnest, but I said it totally wrong.
Right.
And, you know, people don't want to be around negative people, so I don't have those friends anymore.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now it's my responsibility to go back to them and be like, hey, I totally screwed that up.
Sure. Yeah.
And if you don't want to hang out with me anymore, I get it.
Right.
You know, but I'd love a second chance and show you how I improved and so on.
Sure.
But that's just the realism
Own it,
of
yeah, and
that's
owning it.
That's just the realism of
a
life.
lot of people don't
We got
do
a
that,
funny
though.
comment that just came in. Living life to the fullest, fullest free said, I think we should just have more fist fights in the industry.
Remember back in the day when we did, so I have teenagers. It's tough right now, especially for girls, because this goes back to the social media thing, to the positive or the negative. And what you said is there's that much information in the palm of your hand,
Good or bad.
for good or bad. Back in the day, somebody was talking crap, and you just met out at the freaking volleyball court or whatever it was and got her done.
Yep.
Now all this stuff just builds and builds and builds, and anyways, it's
But the whole social media thing is different. Like, I just strongly recommend anybody that's listening or anybody that looks at social media, just use social media for what you like it for.
Right.
Don't use it for any gratification. Don't use it for anything else, because the value is not in what is provided there. Just use it to have some fun and look at it. Like, even me, like, I do social media so often, but I only look at maybe the top 2 or 3 things that come up there, and then I post. I don't get stuck in it because it's too much of a vortex. Like, you get sucked in.
I'm going to tell you right now, I get sucked into social media, and it is causing my negativeness.
There you go.
It is really, you know, because then all of a sudden I'm like, why did this person post this and got all this, and we're doing this and got nothing, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Imagine how it is. I mean, being a grown man compared to a teenage girl or something, you know what I mean? Or a teenage boy, whatever it is. Yeah. Like, so, I'm not going to keep going on
I
it.
lose
Like,
sleep over it.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Dude, you can't.
just focus on the muffler guy.
Exactly. But I still think that there's a lot of good that's at least come out of the episode so far. One thing I want to make sure that everybody knows is that anybody sitting here is totally willing to talk to you or help you with any questions that you had, no matter what it is. Like, if it comes from breaking bones all the way down to social media, like, we're all happy to help you. We might not check our direct messages all the time because we get sucked in, But when we do, we'll try to help you as much as possible. So you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me or anybody here.
And also, if you yourself are in a dark place, or you have friends that you realize are pulling back, or whatever, don't just assume that that's, oh, well, they want to be alone type thing. Even just a simple, hey man, what's going on, or hey, I'm thinking about you right now, text can go a long way to changing somebody's mindset at that moment.
Right.
Or
tacos. Tacos always help too. Tacos always help, man.
Thing. So if anybody out there is in a dark place and they want tacos, that is what George is good for.
Yeah, taco therapy, 100%. I can't tell you how much.
I think we just stumbled on some kind of cool build, like some off-road taco truck, like taco therapy.
Cool. Oh, dude, I'm so down.
Taco therapy would be so cool. But I do want to say this, though, that that was one of the meaningful points. Like I talked about Cody and everybody helping with that fundraiser for me and being able to get me teeth and stuff. Like people always ask me, they're like, dude, why the fuck do you post so many pictures of food and stuff? Well, dude, I couldn't eat for almost 2 years.
Right.
Like I couldn't eat good food. Like, so now that to me is the best thing on the planet. You could buy me a diamond ring and I would go trade it in for tacos. You know what I mean? Like it's because that is so meaningful to me. So every time I get to go have a business meeting, have a lunch with a friend, we go get tacos and sushi is like my kind of new thing now. Or even Cold Stone, like anything. It is like beyond meaningful to me. So what Rob is saying about asking people if they're hurting, go ask them if they want to have lunch. You're going to eat lunch, whether you're at work or not. Like, you're going to go have lunch. You're going to go have dinner. You have to eat. Have somebody else join you if they're sad.
It just seems like that used to be so normal back in the day. And, we don't have to get all political and crazy. We're all living it still. Yeah. But that's part of the issue. And
now we're so individuals.
Totally. And, speaking of perspective, let me put it to you this way. I drove out from Arizona. I'm hanging out in California. I'm like scared because all I hear, I try not to, zone out on news and whatever, but all I hear is it's just going to be crazy and blah, 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 blah. And I get here and I'm like, there's normal people running around here. Like it's normal. Yeah. Like don't buy the
hype.
Again, I'm not getting into it, but you know what I'm saying. So like my perception was that this is going to be a tough weekend for me to come out and do my thing because it's going to be all different. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe get away from the mess for a second, clear your head, and go, hey, we're all living here trying to do the best we can.
Change your effing perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Change your perspective.
Well, here's a little, positive light on this subject. Todd Peter, who's donated an off-road vehicle to Warfighter Made Before, and we
also fixed my house.
I think we put 11 different vets behind the wheel of that vehicle.
Awesome.
Just said, I'm totally down to donate to an off-road taco truck build.
Dude, that's what, and with Dirt Hoopties just said we need the Dirt Life Show taco merch.
Man.
I mean, we're getting into it here. Big business, boys. Big business.
Can you imagine? I can just see it.
Yeah. We actually did print up a Dirt Life taco shirt that says, let's talk about it. And it's got a little Dirt Life guy on it, like a taco guy.
Hell
and
yeah.
Yeah. So we did print them out, but nobody wanted them at the back of the day. So
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, this truck has...
I'll try to wear one this week and take a picture of it.
It's cartoony somehow, and either the exhaust or the roost is tacos.
Yeah. And he's pouring taco sauce on himself.
Yes.
Those people get it. It's so
the
funny.
Taco about it guy.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about the truck now.
Oh, that's what you're doing? Okay, I got you.
Short attention span theater.
Yeah. So, okay, all right. We're not talking about taco. Let's get back to the off-road stuff.
Taco and leg brace truck.
Yeah.
Right there.
Dude. That would help so many people. It would be like a miracle on wheels.
And you're slinging tacos one side, you're slinging leg braces the other.
Just think about the smiles.
Oh, God. We'd have to drive slow for the leg brace people, though.
You're such a dick. Yeah, they're all hobbling behind like me. Could you imagine me trying to catch up? That was funny. There was one guy, like, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago or something. We were getting all drunk at his house, and we were, like, having a party and stuff. And he goes, like, George, I think you should probably slow down. Like, you had one too many beers. And he goes, I just saw you chasing yourself because you couldn't catch up with your legs, like running after yourself. And I was like, you fucker. It was so funny.
Official Derv I drove 2+ hours to buy a hoodie and a shirt off of George and went and got tacos with him and had a great convo with him.
Boom.
Awesome.
That's exactly what I like to hear, man.
Changing lives.
We were hanging out with Monty Bernardo, who's a combat wounded triple amputee, and might have got a little too deep into the libations. And we were walking along. We had to go down this hill, and I'm like, Monty, are you good? And he's just like, watch this. And all of a sudden, he just starts going, and he's a double leg amputee above the knee, and he's missing his right arm below the elbow. And all of a sudden, he just starts going, and he's basically just leaning forward, and he's just kicking them legs, and the whole time, I'm like, oh God, don't fall.
Yeah, like ready to pick it up.
He never had an issue. He was just like, God.
But all those things are learning. Like, I didn't know I could go that fast, so now I can like walk faster, walk faster than I knew, right? Well, let me ask before we get into some of the other questions, Casey. If you guys have any questions right now, Rob's watching, I think, the Instagram, and I got the Facebook pulled up too. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in now because we can actually see it. So we're not trying to bypass you all. And if we haven't answered your questions or comments, we're really sorry, but you're more than welcome to ask now too. So. A Razor taco truck, John said, like the ice cream truck. Yeah, that would be pretty sick. Todd Peters said, I'm totally down to donate. Oh, yeah, so you are. Which one are you on? Are you on Facebook or Instagram?
I think I'm on IG right now.
Okay. So you stay on Instagram. I'll stay on Facebook.
Instead of the ice cream music, is it like mariachi music?
Ooh, that'd be good. I always wanted to start. Yes. I always wanted to start a mariachi band and call it the Tequila Rippers.
Oh man,
you want to be part of it?
Hell yeah!
You want to be part of it,
dude? I just want to be the guy that does the what the
maracas.
Yeah, the maracas.
Oh yeah.
That's my guy. What other stuff do we got on the roster, Case?
So I like this. We kind of touched on it, but let's dive in a little deeper. So you're a product of your environment. Even the best people can be dragged down if you're in a bad environment.
And along with that, you can tell a lot about the type of person you are by the friends you hang out with.
Yeah.
If your friends are all less than desirable, you're not bringing them up.
Yeah.
Right.
They're bringing you down.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And if you look around,
the law of numbers, right?
All your friends are lifting you up, and like what we try and do here at Warfighter Made. I mean, my friends looked at me and was just like, "What's wrong?"
It's awesome that you are surrounding yourself with these kind of people to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings me to another little side subject of that. And people talk about this all the time, and I'm not the dude to preach, but society is so soft. I would like when people being here at Warfighter Made, it makes me feel comfortable, right? Because they don't treat me like anything's wrong with me, and they don't pussyfoot around. I love the truth. I want people to tell me the truth, and whether I can accept it or not, that's on me, right? You know what I mean?
I'll never forget the time you showed up here, and he comes in. I was like, George, what's up? He's like, oh, my back is killing me. I was like, you ain't gonna get no sympathy here.
Yeah. Shut the F up. It's okay, cool. But that's made me feel right at home, right? And I wish that more people would do that. And if anybody's that's listening, says that they're have a talk with the people around you and tell them, just be like, hey, you know what? I kind of feel like I need to be a little bit more aggressive in my thought process. I need to be doing these things. Do you guys think that'd be cool if we all kind of work together to be able to do that and change our mindset, become a little stronger of a person, and go for these things that we're doing and build your whole group up, like Rob said, if all these people are bringing you down, either disconnect or build the group back up or whatever it is.
Yeah, the harsh reality. Sometimes reality is harsh to look at that and say, to your point, being self-aware and being because sometimes you do, and you're like, dude, everything's kind of gnarly, and then you're like, oh yeah, my friends aren't really, maybe, like you said, maybe that's the wrong band of brothers. Unfortunately, that's a harsh thing to do. And let me spin off this too. I was just kind of thinking through military stuff. A lot of my family's military, so I understand maybe it's a default to be a little more upfront. Is that possible?
Oh, without a doubt.
And I don't know if we want to talk about our little sidebar.
Dude, you got to hear this story. I'll let Casey tell it, and I'll interject. It was awesome.
It was awesome, and it's a huge thank you to our military. It was just as soon as you hear the whole story, you understand where we were super appreciative, but we got the
Scared shitless at the same time.
Yes, but like very stern and the facts. And you might not want to hear this, but you're going to get it. But there wasn't any emotion. And like I have to like, I'm tying this together because I think maybe that's what happens here with your guys. They can handle it. I mean, things happen, whatever. It's going to be truth, honesty, up
so
in
we
your
were
face.
just out riding bicycles by Pendleton, by Camp Pendleton, which is the military base here in Oceanside, California.
Right. Yep. So picture every Baywatch or Chips episode hills like that. That's what the hills look like that we're doing.
Yeah, all grassy knoll. Like
yep.
Yeah.
So we're getting down to. We see a couple of the helipads. One of the gates is open. Hey, let's go ride down there. It doesn't say you can't. Okay. Just setting the scene. So now we're heading down further, and we get to kind of the end of like where you can't go anymore because you need to be into the to the base.
Yeah, we're off the bike path at this point.
Right. So right before that, cut into one of these hills is like this little road that goes in, and it dumps right into a beach, and then right here's a cliff right by it.
With all the machinery, the artillery, everything.
So all these armored vehicles are there when we ride by. Hey, that's cool. Whatever. When we come back around, we're like, hey, let's go check it out. And we see some dudes in vehicles, and I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. But I'm sure in both of our minds, I was thinking, hey, hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for service. You know, what are you up to? Whatever. So we take this little
naive.
the little road. Yeah, totally. And all of a sudden, we hear a voice and pop up out of full sniper scout. Out of every movie you've ever seen, this little low pro tent, we never even saw it. He's up here and he goes,
yeah, he's like, because at this point he's behind us now.
Right.
Like
we're looking
we passed through his area, so like we're in his zone now,
and we're looking right at these armored vehicles, thinking, hey, cool, right? That was probably how it was supposed to be set up. But he says to you,
yeah, you're not allowed to be here,
just like that, and we're like,
I was like, yeah, shoot. Like. Oh damn! Like it was basically the same. Like it was basically like, you're already dead, dude. Like
totally,
you're already dead. Like,
the little low pro,
got you.
The little low pro, cover. It's not even a tent. It's a cover. I guarantee they were doing their thing, and he's scouting whatever.
Yeah,
dude, he was hiding. Like he was sneaky. But he's like, you're not allowed to be here, and I'm like, whoa! And then Casey's like, oh, sorry, we'll get out of here.
We're good.
And I was like, yeah, sorry, man, we'll turn around. And I asked him, I was like,
how's your day going?
Yeah, I was like, how's your day going? And he's like, all right. I was like, what are you guys doing? Just hanging out? Because I wanted to fuck with him because he scared the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Just hanging out? And he goes, you could say that. And I just thought to myself, like, I literally just cost myself my whole life because this dude would have took me out if it was a real life situation.
But right about this time, this is why it like sounds even more dramatic. Right about that time, I'm like, that's right. I don't really pay attention to what's going on right now.
Right.
I'm sure there's something going on right now. You know what I mean? Like, so he wasn't messing around.
And then Casey and I both go, that dude is who we are out here riding because of. He's the one that's taking care of everything else that we don't know about.
Right.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is that kid was probably the one in his unit that no one liked and told him to get out on that
and he was being a jerk.
that post, right? And then you guys probably made him feel like the coolest thing in the world.
Sure. Like he did his job. It was awesome.
These two fucking idiots going down trying to look at a tank.
What the hell are you guys doing riding on Pendleton anyways? Were you with a group or was it just the two of you?
No, it was just both of us. We didn't actually go on Pendleton. We just kind of stayed at San Clemente. Yeah, but it was I figured out the path. I want to go do it. But
down in San Onofre Beach area.
Right down, So, but it was definitely an eye opener because again, the perspective, like we live in this area that we're so like, we have everything that we want. We don't have to worry about shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then like you get your vision taken away, you get your ears taken away, you get your body all fucked up. Like you realize what you don't have. Like you're back to square one. You got to figure shit out. And that's what we all get. Like, we all get greedy. We all get these things that happen in our lives. And Casey and I were a perfect example of that. We didn't know what was going on around us. And then once he showed us, we respected every single thing that we thought of around us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was so crazy.
You guys probably spent more time looking at bushes on the way back than you did.
Oh, man.
Dude, you have no idea.
Totally.
Is there some dude over there?
Like we said, it was very comforting. And, again, a huge thank you to everybody who who does what they do.
Yeah, and not just the guys that are out there like helping right now, but all the guys that have helped in the past
Absolutely.
too, like Rob and everybody too. So we really appreciate it. And Danny for now being a professional welder, helping out, getting all these cars ready.
My man.
What else is on the roster, Case? Are we almost kind of winding down?
Yeah, we've kind of gotten through most of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I actually looked at one of the notes on here. Like, I want to make sure that everybody understands. Like, I'm so glad that people are joining this episode and they're listening to my story. But please don't forget, the Dirt Life is not about me. The Dirt Life is all about you guys. It's all about Rob's stories, the warfighters that he brings in. Casey was on the episodes. James Jeremiel, who just came on. Like, there's so many people that are involved in the show and so many people that we care about. We just want to show all of these good stories that we've been talking about, man, with all of you guys. So we have some really cool stuff that's going to be coming up this year. I mean, like, I think we only have like 3 or 4 weekends all year that's not planned yet. Like, it's crazy, right? So I'm so stoked that everybody's so into it. So
Pretty
please,
awesome.
like I say, please keep sharing it and like listening to all these cool stories, because these are the people that keep the industry going. These are the people that we'd love to watch at the races and stuff. So I'm so stoked that you guys are into it. What else we got?
What if we
Looks like the iPad's going to die, so we probably got to hurry up.
right on? Well, I know we have a rapid fire.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on, Rob?
Just a couple comments. Lake Life Shibby again said, I've been telling George for many years, instead of all this, he needs to get into professional bird watching. It's safer.
Way safer, right?
And we were telling George because he showed up a couple days after you had that major spill on your bike.
Yeah.
Remember when you were off? It was like, bro, it's bubble time.
Yeah.
We're putting you in a bubble.
Yep.
Let's see. Living life to the fullest free. Had a question just in general about anyone know if Can-Am is doing any changes for the future.
Yeah, everybody's doing changes for the future, man. You just got to wait and see what happens. All of these guys always have like a 5-year plan. So the stuff that you're going to see in 5 years is what they've been working on now. Like, I would just, keep your eyes to the ground. I mean, social media, like we just said, like, you have more information in the palm of your hand than the president did 15 years ago. So just kind of keep looking at that stuff. Like, in the meantime, there's all kinds of cool companies. I saw Shock Therapy had a Can-Am and a Polaris Razor Pro R that they were going testing. So that makes me think that they're going to test them against each other. So maybe they're going to do something cool. Who knows? But keep your eye on social media and kind of things like that. I mean, like, no matter where the industry goes, it's going to go forward.
I always enjoy some of the forums, and it's where I've always really appreciated Joey D, because even though he's been out of the game for a couple years, he still has his thumb on the pulse.
Oh, 100%.
And when everybody was coming out or was starting to announce that Polaris has a 4-cylinder coming out, it's 2,000 cc's, and everyone was jumping on that. Impossible. There's the whole Riders Act that they're not going to do that and everything's going to be below this, and Joey always come in and be like, first of all, Polaris heads that whole
that division
act that you guys are talking about, right?
Exactly.
So if Polaris wants to change the rules, they will change the rules.
Right.
And here we are today, and it's that competition. I'm a Polaris guy through and through. Can-Am has been making some killer machines and giving Polaris a run for their money, which now they have to step it up.
Yeah,
and
Ford versus Chevy, like Casey said.
Yep.
And they've stepped it up. How come no one throws in Dodge in any of that stuff?
Well, that's funny that you should say that.
We should make fun of my dad off of air.
Yeah, let's do that. We love you, George.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Toyota.
But yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, like, well, how about this? We'll do a shameless plug for the Dirt Life. Pay attention to Dirt Life when you want to hear stuff that's going on in the industry.
Yeah, because you got some guests on that.
Oh, you should see some of the schedule we got, man. Woo-wee, I'm excited.
They just might know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool. Todd Peters said, you guys kick ass. You have impacted more people than you probably realize, myself included. Well, we really appreciate it, Todd. We're trying. So hopefully everybody kind of keeps sharing the show and kind of keeps things growing, because we want to make sure that we're doing it to as many people as possible. I know the show is still really small, but we enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Rose Pillar Racing just said Honda Talon Dodge.
Hey, the Honda Talent, the Honda Talents win in their class. So, and I actually like Jeff Proctor and the way he operates his race program. He's a good friend of mine. So, like, I love the way that he does things. So, to me, I mean, and even the Yamaha guys, like when I was a Yamaha guy, we all got bashed, right? Like, it's so cool for me to see that. Like, I'd love when the Polaris guys would come up and be like, why are you driving that street bike? Like, And I would be like, yes, like it's so cool that we can have that now, because back in the day it was only one Polaris 800 or a Rhino, and now we have all this versatility. It's so cool.
The Rhino.
Without a doubt.
Dude, the Rhino is still. I was looking the memories that I lived last night trying to get some pictures for the show. I went through like crying to smiles, like all kinds of stuff. It was so awesome. All right, I think we probably only got like 10% of the battery left on the iPad, so let's start winding it down.
Everyone's got an awesome shoe game tonight.
I think Casey
Thanks,
wins.
we try.
Oh, yours are pretty good.
Yeah,
well,
they are.
I'm on the Hoka. I'm on my old man. I broke my back.
Those look like they got a lot of padding, dude. Dude, the
Actually,
sock game. You win the sock
Yeah,
game.
there's no
Actually,
doubt.
Somebody commented on that, but this is a little Christmas present from our executive director, Kristen Novoa. Hooked it up with some socks. And I
Dude,
like
that
them so
sock
much.
game is tight.
So the bummer is there's not any more to purchase.
There's none to purchase. No.
Casey's a big sock and shoe guy,
Oh, yeah?
dude.
Big
yeah,
time.
big sock and
Those
shoe
are
guy.
pretty.
I'm gonna hook you
Those
up.
are pretty dope.
Try to
gonna
figure
hook you
something. They might
You-
smell a little bit weird when you get them.
No,
but
they're brand new. You and TPQ. Although if TPQ puts on my socks, he's gonna pull them up to his thigh.
yeah, probably, right? Any more comments before we start winding it down? Hey, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions while we do rapid fire and stuff, too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, thanks for the interaction tonight, guys and gals.
Jason Merrill, some best times at Lucas races.
Yeah, it
And
really was. Yeah, I remember that first time I saw you, and you were like, "Hey, George, can one of the warfighters get changed in the trailer?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, they can."
Good times.
It was cool, man. It seems like it was so long ago, but it wasn't. It was only 4 or 5 years ago.
No, and now the Perfects are running gas.
Mhm.
You know, so the
I
situation.
want to get out there. I've been so busy, but I want to get out there to one of those races. I know that they have one in Victorville coming up.
Yeah.
All right, Case,
That's awesome. I'm ready for rapid fire if you guys are.
let's do it.
Rob, do you want to? Should we alternate?
I've already. Oh yeah, we can do that. I was gonna say I've already done this.
I've already done that.
I've kind of answered these, but I don't think I've answered every single one of them yet. So,
No, there's a couple here that might be a surprise.
oh, you're gonna make up? Okay, cool.
Go for it, Rob. You want to fire it off first?
Okay, this first one's even dumb. Why is we even asking this? Tacos or hot dogs?
Hey, big hot dog guy here though too, dude. I've
Yeah.
been really
I
into
know
the
you
hot
love
dogs
the
lately.
wieners.
Yeah,
You love the wieners.
I've been in wieners inside buns.
Sonoran.
Hey, you just made my mouth water.
There's
no.
there's a new hot dog place here in Temecula too,
no.
right over there off of Jefferson and Rancho. There's a new hot dog place over there.
Yeah.
Didn't make my stomach feel very good, but it was delicious.
Oh, yeah, well,
it was
you just-
delicious,
You
dude.
just sold me on it.
But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to just go tacos, bud.
Chicken or asada?
Going shredded beef.
Shredded. So yeah, that was an audible.
Yeah, going it.
Dunes
See.
or the river.
So, the dream has always been to have a pontoon boat, and I've trying to been getting up the courage to ask Craig Scanlon if I can borrow his boat because I see Mike Gardner doing it all the time. Because I do love the river, and with my vision being so bad lately, I don't like the shadows at the dunes when it gets like dusk.
Yeah.
So, if I had to pick right this second, my answer 3 years ago would have been the dunes. But if I had to pick right this second, and I got to borrow a pontoon boat, I'm at the river.
Nice.
Just because it's so slow paced, put a grill there, give me some hot dogs.
chill.
Yeah, just be marinating on the lake.
Talk
or
about the
river.
old race stories. Action shots or still shots? I'm not really sure where to go with
Dude,
this.
I've been on the fence about this lately. What? I don't think you've answered this question either. Like maybe you could because I like videos, but I've been seeing some people posting some sick still shots lately too, man.
Right this second, I'm going to go with action.
You going
I
action?
There's something about Roost or Air or, watching Seth Quintero rip through the freaking
Yeah.
through the desert. It's stuff like that I
Yeah,
really,
honestly, yeah, I'll probably go action.
Like a good slow mo.
Ooh,
all about
that's
it.
good too.
I'm
Yeah.
all about it.
Oh.
Especially those rally car guys that are like
Oh,
an inch
man.
away from the side. Yeah.
And if you have the Lee Majors like $6 million man,
Yeah, dude.
here I got one from you from our own Lily online. Rapid fire question: top 3 favorite hats you own? Go,
Ooh, top 3
Whoa.
favorite hats I own. Well, Warfighter made hat.
my man.
Let's see here. I'm gonna have to go with the KMC hat because I got that on now, and I just love the guys over at KMC for helping out the show. And then I had this one San Diego hat, but I feel like I'm going to be like encroaching on Joey D's territory because I had this one San Diego hat that I wore for so long. It was like just sweated out, dude. It was so gross. But I don't want to make Joey mad because he's got that thing covered.
Go ahead, Rob.
3-wheeler or quad?
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know. Just all this
Old school.
banshee talk. Like when I first got on a motorized vehicle after I was paralyzed, my mom let me ride her banshee, so I dressed up in my motocross gear and I got on the banshee with a Toomey kit, by the way.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, and so I'm just gonna go with quad.
Nice.
If it a Toomey kit quad.
Okay. Pizza roll. Well, wait, with like the 4-foot long swing arm or
No, it was stock.
Okay,
Just,
good.
all it
Just
had
sounds
was,
good.
All I had was Toomey. It even had stock bars.
Sounds good.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Pizza rolls or jalapeno poppers?
Poppers 100.
Dang, so good.
I'm in there. Okay, I don't even have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because you've never even had one of them.
Yep. Well, ask it so I can give the fun fact away.
Fun fact: coffee or tea?
George has never ever even tasted coffee.
Ever
Not even
tasted
once.
coffee?
Not even a coffee candy?
Smelled it. Yeah. Oh no, I've had a coffee candy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
those aren't really the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not, but it's kind of the gateway,
Oh,
right? You smell it, you're like,
Guess what?
maybe.
Guess what?
Next thing you know, it's
Next
a
thing you know, he's
triple frappa crappa lappa.
I didn't. Even the coffee candy though, I didn't like the way it tasted.
Okay,
So
all right.
it didn't get me going down that road.
Winning.
George is totally on the smacking caca lattes.
Favorite movie.
That
That might be a movie title.
That's so gross. I have two favorite movies. One is Requiem for a Dream, and the other one is A Beautiful Mind.
Good.
Man, I haven't seen either one of those.
Is Instagram still working? Because the iPad's getting all crazy.
No, it's done.
Okay. We're just gonna let Instagram go.
Oh, wait. Was this supposed to be for you?
You can keep going. I
Your
don't
car?
know. I don't care. Oh.
What's your sketchiest moment in your racing career?
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of default, just breaking my back. That changed everything, right?
Even worse than almost dying in 2019.
Well, I still don't consider it like my racing career, like where I was making money was dirt bikes. So like, that's what I consider the career.
okay.
But yeah, the sketchiest moment is clearly losing my life when I got hit by a vehicle, but that wasn't a profession. That was more of a hobby because I still had to pay so much money to race off road.
That was for free.
Yeah, exactly.
For the fans.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I'd like to teleport. Just gotta travel so much. Nice.
Yeah, that's a good
Nice
one.
to just upload everything and just fly
That
it
would be
over.
nice.
Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yep. What's the next one? You go, Case.
Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, YouTube all day. I do. I'm really looking forward to that new Netflix F1 documentary for last year.
Nice.
I can't
Should
wait
be
to see
good.
that.
Oh
yeah.
man, when I showed up to his house, he was all about the he's like, "You ever watch this?" I'm like, "No."
Dude,
And my
Better
wife
do
and I
it.
sat there and watched
every
a couple
single-
hours.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it's good. But yeah, I'm going YouTube.
Video or photos?
Since we picked the action shots, I'm gonna stick with videos on this one.
Caveat: if I'm going back to photos, like if I'm doing it, shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm looking at stuff like my family that's no longer with me, or just areas that made me who I am today.
I would always photos all day.
Photo all day long.
All day. Yeah.
All day long.
All day
Totally.
long.
Plus, it
And-
can't go away.
Yeah.
I'm that dude that goes into like organize something and I'll pick up a photo and 3 hours later I'm like, I got stacks of photos all around me and
Isn't it gnarly how
I
you can
haven't
hear
done-
the music, you can smell it and taste
Oh,
it?
yeah.
It's so
I love
crazy.
that.
Thanks,
I love
Stetson.
that.
We appreciate it, man. He's recording it on his DVR, he said. All right.
So I was going to go with what it normally is, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. And I'm going to say most memorable dirt bike.
Most memorable dirt bike?
Yep.
Are we talking sucky or good? My most
It's up to you.
What do you
My-
Yeah,
remember
why?
most?
Yeah, exactly. Why would it be most memorable?
my best one was probably my my YZ125 that I raced Supercross and motocross with, because that was, I just remember like Elliot Cook commented on it actually. He's like, dude, that thing looks clean, and I just remember like I cut the silencer perfect, like everything was mint on it, like I even had a ground strap, so it was getting perfect spark, like the good spark plugs, like, and I never had any motor work done on any of my bikes, so like I was always just trying to make it crispy, right? And I remember that thing had zero bog. I was like, it was perfect. It was so perfect, and I never had a bike that really did that before. So that was probably my favorite one.
Perfect. That's pretty memorable.
I like the sound effects that came along with it.
Right.
Right. Favorite snack?
Nachos. I mean, we could go with tacos or pizza, but that's not really a snack.
We got to save that for the off-road taco truck.
Yeah.
Yes. Supercross and motocross.
I'd rather race motocross. I'd rather watch Supercross.
Nice.
That's a good one. I know the answer to this, but I love hearing it, so I'm going to ask it again. What other form of racing would you like to try?
Ooh.
I already know it.
Yeah. I definitely do want to try the monster trucks.
Mainly so you can see through the floor
Yeah.
when you're fully vert.
I don't want to do it because I feel like my back is already so haggard.
Right.
A lot of people have been talking about like rally racing and then like F1 and all this stuff, but monster trucks just look so insane now. It looks like a freaking ballet because they like do those endos and ride them around, all kinds of crazy
It
stuff.
seems like it would be more fun.
Yeah.
Like, rally to me, it's too stressful.
And I like when the little kids walk up and the tires are like 10 times
Yeah, right.
big as
Exactly.
them.
Can fit in the wheel.
Yeah.
Celebrity crush.
Oh, we're going to have to go back to Requiem for a Dream and A Beautiful Mind. Both have the same actress in it, Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, that's why then.
Okay.
Obviously.
All right.
Yep.
That's your qualifier.
That's my qualifier.
All right. And we
Um,
always follow up with this one every single time, and it's still important. Definitely hasn't changed. Chips and guac, or fries and ketchup.
Yeah, I'm going chips and guac all day. I mean, like, I love me some fries. And Steve actually called me out on this yesterday or the other day. But, yeah, we're going chips and guac.
Fries and guac?
Fries and, oh, yeah, like super nachos. Fries with carne asada, guacamole. Have you seen that?
Definitely not chips and ketchup, though.
No.
Definitely
That one's not
chips.
gonna
Yeah,
work.
we're throwing that out the
That
window.
one's not going to work.
All right, man. Yeah, that's good. That was fun to answer.
That was awesome. I was thinking you were going to pull out the CR80.
I did like that one.
I
It's
think
just
that
so
was
much
one of
top end. Like, one of the bikes that I did the best on was my Suzuki 80. Like, that's still my like most memorable race as a dirt bike rider was like
With
that.
the cloud seat.
I think it did have
Did
one.
have the
Yeah.
cloud seat.
Yeah, but that was cool. Like, it was.
What year was it?
92, 91.
It was really early, yeah. But it was at Glen Helen, the track that I broke my back on. But it was there, and I fell down the first turn, and I remember I was just trying so hard to catch up with everybody. And by the end of the race, this guy Sean Hamlin, who actually made it to a factory level, I was about a tire length away from passing for the lead. Yeah, it was so cool, man. It was just like one of those things that you're so in a zone and you're so focused that it'll never ever be that good again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the once in a lifetime that I ever felt like that good. And to this day, even side by side racing, I've never had that same energy and focus.
Isn't that crazy? And you can never forget it.
Yeah,
So
It's-
awesome.
it's crazy, but it's cool. I wonder if that does that happen to you guys when you guys go out to battle and stuff, just like laser focus.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. You know, things happen that you're just so your subconscious is taking over because you've trained it to such a level that at the end of a battle or something super intense, you almost have like a Will Ferrell old school like answer a question, and at the very end you're like, what happened?
James Stamos.
I don't even
John
remember.
Stamos. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I'm
what just
blacked
happened.
out.
Yeah.
Blacked
Oh, yeah,
out.
yeah. Got it. That part. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
but we talked about it before. It's like you remember those things as pictures in a picture book,
Yeah.
and you know you have this memory, but what's in between those memories you don't really remember.
Yep.
And then somebody comes in and puts that picture in there, like, oh, this and this and this happened. All right, there's that memory,
That's
and
so awesome.
it just keeps going because you're subconsciously acting, which doesn't take thought.
Right.
So you're just doing stuff.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
Awesome.
I love
but
the
it's-
word pictures.
But
It's
it's
great.
But it's you guys. It's like you guys racing. You know, I could ask you 1,000 questions when you're on the racetrack. You'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you could be totally crossed up. You know, biking it on two wheels, set it down and go, and I'll be like, bro, what happened? What are you talking about,
Normal.
dude? You almost freaking crashed. What? When?
Yeah.
You know, lap 4, third corner. Da da da. Oh, I don't even know.
That's what's so amazing about the human body. It's just, I know we could argue, and I would say, no, racing is not to that level. I know, and you'd be cool and say, no, it's definitely. But like,
Cool.
I just can't even imagine. I can't even go there. Like, it's the craziest, coolest thing ever. The word pictures that you're putting, because you can kind of see it, even though we can't live it. We can see it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Like, somewhat the same, but yeah, not the same.
Yeah, I love that feeling, man. Makes me want to race right now.
Yeah.
Doing your very first free fall jump out of an airplane.
Right. I can't even imagine.
You're standing there on the ramp, and it's the same thing for everybody, right? You're so in tune to everything. You're so focused, right? And then all of a sudden, your instructor is like in your face, and he's like a Christmas story when Ralphie's trying to see Santa Claus, and that elf is in his face. Come on, kid, right? All of a sudden, your instructor's in front of your face, and he's like, "Ready, go!" And all of a sudden, you're just like, and you're outside of the airplane. And the only thing that you can see throughout the whole thing is your altimeter, because you're staring at that thing because
Most important thing.
you don't want to miss pool altitude, right?
Right.
He's giving you hand and arm signals, and you're not paying attention to anything because it's like mental overload,
Totally.
right? And then,
Meanwhile, I'm like, dude, it's still running. I'm not jumping. It still works.
and you finally hit the ground, and then he's just like, "So, how do you think it went?" And you're like, "I don't even remember getting in the airplane." You know, what do you mean?
Sensory
We
overload.
definitely have some things to work on.
That's awesome. Well, let me remind everybody to check out the sponsor page, sponsor deals page on thedirtlifeshow.com, and help you guys get some awesome deals on products. Next week's show.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about the Outlaw Series. We're going to do a race recap because that's happening this weekend. I don't know if you guys listen to the beginning of the show, but I'm going to be out there. We're going to do the live broadcast with the guys at Shock Therapy. They're going to be bringing that to you, so it'll be pretty cool to be out there and hanging out with them. I'm just stoked to meet a whole bunch of new people.
I saw the awesome Shock Therapy trailer out at Glamis.
Yeah.
Guys trip a couple weekends ago.
Dude.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they're doing awesome stuff, man.
Definitely. So, Rob, hey, big thanks for helping me struggle through this tonight. Appreciate it. And again, thanks for having us and doing what you do.
I feel like
and
Casey did an awesome job.
It's actually kind of a pleasure for me to be here with you
Awesome.
because, watching you all these shows, and now you're in the hot seat, and
it's pretty hot.
This guy right
Pretty
here.
hot. It's so natural for this guy.
I took care of the computer stuff for you.
No, you
alleviate it a little
did.
bit,
Like,
so
you guys killed it.
I feel like you did a really good job, though, man. So
Well, and even a bigger thanks to our audience, our guest, George, all the sponsors that keep helping and keeping this thing going, co-host, obviously.
yeah, but yeah,
James for calling in.
Absolutely, James, thank you.
the audience, James and the audience are the most important people, man,
sure.
because they're the ones that make this show happen. I mean, like, we could sit here and talk about shit, but nobody would want to watch unless it was for them. So
Brett Carpenter for Karen.
yeah, exactly, dude. Thank you very much, Brett.
Huge high five from all of us for that one.
All right, so you want to just sign us out?
Yeah, thanks for living your dirt life with us, and we will see you next week.
All right, we love you guys. Good night.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show. See you next week.